Twisted.
Whoa.
I brought out a twee for Barbie
Mm-hmm.
and a mango breeze for Oppenheimer. You know, yeah. You know, I was gonna get a cig, dude. I have some Marlboro 100 golds or whatever. So I was like, and I have a hat, dude. And I have a hat. I brought out, so maybe they might be making an appearance.
Maybe, jeez.
They could be, but I don't really like to smoke inside my house because, you know, I like my place to smell nice and not like smoke. But anyway, dude, back to what I was saying today. So I woke up today, you know, I woke up yesterday, you know, actually, let me break it down for you. About 4 years ago, a little album came out called Astro World. One of the greatest albums of all time to ever come out. A classic, instant, you know, hidden features, Travis Scott's third studio album. He's just basically assembled the Avengers. He's basically like Tony Stark with this album. Comes out, instant classic. Grammys come out. Who wins? Cardi B for Invasion of Privacy. One of the things I'll never forget the Grammys for that rap album. So okay, whatever have you. He assembles Jack Boys. He gets his own little label. He assembles Jack Boys, you know, and he drops that album. I'm like, okay, that's awesome. Or Cactus Jack, I guess it would be called, but Jack Boys was the album. So I'm like, that's great. That's fantastic. About after that came Not All Heroes Wear Capes, where it's Metro Boomin. We get a, you know, if you're not familiar with Metro Boomin, you get Metro Boomin coming into the scene now. And he's collabed with Travis Scott multiple times before, but now on an album together. And I'm like, oh my God, dude, like it's just angelic. Truly, it's just angelic. And then we wait a little, you know, because obviously artists need to go back in their little hiding and, you know, make music, make movies, wherever they have to do. And he drops a single. He works on Christopher Nolan's Tenet movie. And you're like, okay, that's an interesting pick, Christopher Nolan, but I like it. So he gets that movie. Then he drops a single called Franchise. And you're like, okay, interesting. He's dropping some singles. I wonder if an album's coming out. Then we get Mafia and Escape Plan. I remember I was living at home. We were talking, Max. Escape Plan got leaked already, and we were chit-chatting about it. And, you know, then it was the actual tragedy. You know, rest in peace to all the Ragers out there, you know, who lost their lives during that tragic event. You know, it's truly awful. And obviously then his album got delayed. And that was about 2019, 2020. So now I've been waiting about 3 years for his magnum opus called Utopia.
Yeah.
And he said it was going to drop. Billboards everywhere, was going to do Coachella, got dropped out of Coachella. It'd been, you know, Rolling Loud's been teasing it forever. I've been anticipating it forever. And it's just he's on features now. And his features are good. I don't care what anyone says. The features he had for the past year have just been fantastic. You know, what have you. Maybe the only one you can disagree on is on the Pink tape of Lil Uzi's. And then he said, you know, we're all waiting. And then finally he said he'll see you on Monday. Playboy Cardi also said he'll see me on Monday last Christmas, and nothing happened. And you know what didn't happen yesterday? Not a damn thing. So I was like, you know what, dude? I'm pissed. Like, this is a joke and a half. My patience has run out. It has completely run out for this man to drop the album. But then finally, today, I went for my workout. I did my workout. I woke up. I felt like I was in a decent mood. Then I got a text message, and I wasn't in a decent mood. An old friend texted or whatever, and it put me in a bad mood, what have you. I was like, God damn it. So I go take a shower, get all scrubbed up for my workout, what have you. And then all of a sudden, he tweets something out. And I'm like, okay, what the hell's going to happen now? Then he tweets out, or he posts an Instagram thing of a movie. And I'm like, motherfucker, you got to be kidding me right now, dude. Where the hell is the album, man? Because you said it was this Friday. The movie I'm excited for too, don't get me wrong. The movie looks fantastic. But come on. And then finally, about 10, 15 minutes after, you know, he got his little image for the movie or whatever, he announced his fourth studio album, Utopia, that's supposed to come out this Friday. And I have never been happier in my entire life. I told my mom, I went home this weekend and I said, Mom, for 8 months when I was in the Beast, I touched the sky. I'm about to touch the sky again this Friday at 12:01 a.m. when I hit that play button on my Apple Music and I hear some auto-tune and I just sit back and enjoy the ride.
Yeah, hopefully it's not like a Donda situation, man, where it keeps, you know, not dropping over and over again.
Yeah, hopefully, man. Hopefully.
Gosh. It's wild that this is finally coming out, man. Like, speaking of Donda, I mean, we've been very vocal about the release for Utopia throughout, like, the New York vlogs, during the Kanye Genius Trilogy podcast stuff going on.
Yeah.
This is a long time in the making for it. I know you're hyped for it.
Oh, I'm exuberant, dude. I am just exuberant for this. I've never been anticipating something more. The only thing I have been anticipating more is maybe Dune. You know, we have little wins in our life, lives. One was Barbenheimer. The next one will be Utopia. Then Dune, and then Killers of the Flower Moon. Or Killers of the Flower Moon, then Dune. Whichever one comes out first.
Well, if Dune even comes out this year.
Yeah. After that news dropped, then too. But that was my music news, man, and that put me in a great mood. Apple's does it differently than Spotify, where you can see like how many minutes you listen to.
Yeah.
January 19th, I already hit 50,000 minutes of listening. Yeah, dude. Maybe nice, I should touch grass, but what can you do? You know.
Nice, man. Nice. Well, here we are, guys, for the brand new episode of Galaxy of Film Live. Kind of like Danilo said, we're talking Barbenheimer this week. Dude, you got some echo going on, Danilo. Turn it down, bro. There you go, buddy. Hey. But anyways, we're talking Barbenheimer this week. However, guys, before we go ahead and start diving into that in the news, of course, we aren't alone. If you are watching this live, you can clearly see who we have with us. And first up on the list is none other than our man, the editor himself, Brandon. How are you doing, bro?
I'm doing pretty good. I've been sick the last week or so I've been recuperating from that. But other than that, I'm really looking forward to talking about these two movies this week.
Your connection is sick too, man. What's going on today?
Is it?
A little bit. You're choppy, bro. You're choppy. Dang. Well, glad to have you here regardless of the choppiness, Brandon. It's good to have you. Your vacation was a few weeks ago. I know we kind of briefly talked about that when you came back from it. I know obviously you're still back into being home, back in the workforce. And here you were, man, helping me out with a little project that I dropped a few weeks ago. My newest short film, Distinguished. Danilo, you also helped on this project for editing this. And I wanted to talk about this last week, but however, we kind of had a time travel episode, as you guys remember, for John Carpenter's Big Trouble in Little China and Escape from LA. So we didn't have a chance to talk about this film, but now here we are, finally. Distinguished is out now on the Galaxy Film website and the YouTube channel. This is a piece I wrote and directed that was inspired by Atlanta, as also the Friday movies. I had a bit of a chance to talk about this whenever Sorrentino came on the show. We did the Friday trilogy for 420. This piece I wrote was actually intended to be the simplest short film I could do while I'm still here in North Carolina in my lineup of films I'm going to be directing the rest of this year. However, this was the complete opposite and became the most difficult piece, but yet one that I'm so proud of. And it's kind of cool. We kind of have the Mayhem guys here with us too, Jake and Will, because there's a key scene. The ending bit of Distinguished is actually inspired by one of your short films, Jake, On the Job. So it's really cool to have this kind of, not collaboration, I'd say, for an episode, but just this cool mix of everyone kind of touching base on this one for Distinguished. But go ahead and check it out, guys. Yates Weaver is the lead of this piece. He was a fantastic actor. We had Kia coming on for his, debut short film as well. Great actor to work with. He brought two of those guys on set, brought a chemistry that I've never witnessed before, and just had such dedication to the role. I mean, whenever Yates reached out to me for my casting call, he was actually responding to the casting call I put out for Like a Surgeon that I did last year. I immediately realized what I wanted him for, and he just fit into the role like an absolute natural. And the dude is so damn talented. Had a chance to go see his band Late Notice perform last week as well, and I couldn't have been more honored to have two wonderful artists come onto this piece. Another actor from Like a Surgeon, Nigel Morgan, returns on for a nice role in this film as well too. Absolutely love working with Nigel, and it was an honor to have a returning face to the screen for Galaxy of Film. If I'm not mistaken, I think he's our first returning actor for our short films, which is really cool too. But yeah, Distinguished is out now. Check it out, guys. This was such a fun piece to work on, and we're in pre-production for the next one, which I'm really, really excited about too. This will be an interesting one because Tyler, our musician, actually wrote this next film that I'm directing. So it'll be a different take to direct someone else's story for the first time. But can't wait for it. Jake, how are you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I really enjoyed watching Distinguished. It was a lot of fun. I loved the Atlanta vibes. I also picked up on some mid-90s vibes.
Thank you.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. No problem. And no, it was a lot of fun to watch. The cinematography was great. The color grading, everything just looked great. And it was awesome. And I'm so glad you guys got to put it out. I hope we can get some stuff going soon too. But yeah, I was starting to write again too this last week. And for sure had the same kind of like safety energy, and it's been a lot of fun to do that again. And I'm inspired.
Thank you, man. That means a lot, actually. I'm glad you are writing as well. I know we talked a bit off camera, off of the air about the film you're working on next. Can't wait for it. We got a lot coming up this next year for sure with Galaxy of Film. As Danilo and I have said since like episode like 15 or something, we're building an empire, and it just keeps getting bigger and bigger every day. And it's truly it's like a proud dad moment to see this thing get bigger and bigger over the past couple of years. When we started Galaxy of Film, this was very much a like hole in the wall kind of podcast. We had no clue what we were doing. Matter of fact, Danilo, your first time meeting Dakari was the day we recorded the first episode, I think, like the introduction piece.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was, dude. Yeah, it was.
And so seeing, where we've come from there, because this is, I think it makes 135 episodes for us too, actually. We've come a long way, and we're breaking into the filmmaking stuff. We're finally finding like our actual firm footing with filmmaking too. We've done the video work as well for the last year or so. It's just amazing seeing this brand, this company, and these visions grow further and further. It's been one of my biggest honors in life, truly. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But also another member of Mayhem here. We got Will. How are you doing, bro?
Hey man, what's up? How's everybody? I'm doing pretty good. This past week I was on vacation. I went to Florida to stay with my grandpa for a little while. So I wasn't actually sure if I was going to be able to watch Barbie and Oppenheimer in time for this episode because I just came back in on Sunday. And I managed to scramble together a little plan with a couple people. I went with in the morning on Monday to see Barbie, and then I stayed at the theater and then waited for my other friend to show up to watch Oppenheimer with him.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, it worked out. I found some people to do it with, a little double feature. So that's when I mentioned like, oh yeah, can I join on this episode? Because these are great movies, and I definitely feel like I'm gonna have something to say. And congratulations, of course, on finishing this new short film.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I'm glad you mentioned some of your viewing experiences with the film. That's something I want to kind of talk about as well too. Usually like past few months or so since we entered this year, I'm just kind of seeing a lot of movies with my girlfriend every week. Thankfully, I'm able to drag her to a theater to go see pretty much everything we cover on the podcast, which is weekly. Unfortunately, she was sick and couldn't come see Barbie or Oppenheimer with me. However, I kind of had the next best thing. If you're familiar with some of our other podcast episodes this year for Evil Dead, we had our buddy Drake on. Drake's also PA for our films, including Distinguished. And then a few weeks ago for our Wes Anderson special for Asteroid City and Rushmore, we had Caleb on, who's also our set designer and our lead for our PA division for our short films. And I had a chance to see Barbie with both of them, which was really cool. Pulling up a picture for you guys now on the live stream version. We all dressed up as Ken, which was a lot of fun. And seeing this like opening night in theater, or midday, excuse me, we caught like a 3 p.m. showing on Thursday, was sick, man. Like everybody was dressed up for this. The whole theater was almost sold out. Everyone's wearing pink, and we were getting like endgame level reactions throughout the entire movie. Barbie was truly an event not to be like tampered with, and I loved this thing, man. And I didn't even have a chance to see it at my local Alamo. I went to like a random like AMC locally and caught it there, and still had such a dedicated and respectful crowd, surprisingly. Danilo, what was your Barbie experience like in theaters, man?
Yeah, I just saw it today, actually, about 40 minutes ago. It was good. It wasn't sold out because I went to a cinema that was a bit far away in Lansing instead of East Lansing.
Okay.
Or Okemos as they call it, just the town next door. Because they were just having showtimes almost every hour basically, or every 45 minutes. And when I got there, it was pretty packed. People still dressed up on a Monday. On Tuesday. On a fucking Tuesday. People were all wearing pink or whatever. I didn't have any pink, so I just wore a plain white t-shirt. I didn't know, ripping the Ken vibe or whatever. What have you. And I was like, oh, this is cool, man. Some people were going to go see Oppenheimer. They were talking about it in the theater, whatever. And then I got out after 6:40. I hit a 4:50 showtime. No one's out of work yet, probably for that. You work a 9 to 5. It was packed. As soon as I got out of the theater, it was packed. I imagine all those later show times were close to full, if not full. I just saw pink galore. I know the box office says differently. I think a lot of people saw Oppenheimer first. Now everyone's going to see Barbie and having fun, because Oppenheimer is not the most uplifting movie, as we'll get to it. But yeah, it was packed when I got there. Everyone was buying concessions. People were in pink. Dads were there taking their daughters. Dads were just there watching the fucking film. Looked like I think I saw two Joes just outside of work, who just, business jobs or whatever, and like sports coat and black pants. They're saying they were going to go see Barbie or whatever. So yeah, Barbie was the event for sure.
Absolutely, man. It makes me happy because like we've hyped this up for so many months, like as a fandom, as film lovers, like the whole Barbenheimer event, and it's actually stuck the landing. Obviously we'll get into how we received the films and our thoughts on them, but as an event, this definitely held up high for it. This was an endgame level event, it felt like, for sure, and we kind of needed that. Last year on the podcast, we had David from Piecing It Together come on for our kind of like Hollywood versus Hollywood episode. Oh no, not David, excuse me. That was the top 10 of the year episode. I'm getting the thumbnail mixed up. Jake, you came on for the episode. It was Don't Worry Darling and Blonde. That was our Hollywood versus Hollywood episode. And this year is basically that with Barbenheimer. But it's to the extreme. We're not having a niche kind of Netflix film that people surprisingly hate, and then the mess that Don't Worry Darling is. So like this is exciting, and I can appreciate this moment as a film lover for sure. Brandon, what were your thoughts or experience about? What was your thoughts about your experience for Barbie?
Oh, it was really fun. So I went Friday night. I went to one of those movie theaters in Royal Oak, Michigan.
Okay.
So I went to actually see it with my older sister, because she saw the trailers and that looked really fun too. So she asked me if I wanted to come watch it with her too. So we both went. You could clearly tell it was a mostly Barbie demographic when walking into the theater. Everybody was wearing their pink, their tiaras, or whatever. They were getting all dressed up for Barbie. I was almost tempted to buy the Barbie drink that they had at the theater, but I paid for my drink before I even realized that. So, so I ended up getting that.
What was the Barbie drink?
It was like a bubblegum vodka, like alcohol drink.
Yeah, it had Pink Whitney in it, didn't it? Pink Whitney was the.
Well, I think it was like vodka, bubblegum, and then like they put like cotton candy on top of it or something like that.
Dang, sounds lit.
That sounds good, man. What kind of theater was this? You said
it's an Imagine theater. Danilo knows about this. It's kind of like a Midwest regional theater chain.
Okay, I've never heard of that. But that sounds awesome for the drink, man.
Yeah, it does. And I'm a little mad that I didn't get it, but whatever. Past is the past. But yeah, my theater was nearly packed as well. Like it was almost, I think it was about 90% full, the theater. So it was great just being in that atmosphere with a ton of people, because it really does make the movie experience that much better when there's like a big crowd around you. Yeah, there was just like a group of groups of women there. Couples were there. I think I even saw just two guys just go in there just to see Barbie. Like it was just amazing to see.
Ken's,
like
bro. Those were Ken's going to see it.
Those are Ken's. You're exactly right.
Brandon, what was
what?
Is that something you don't usually see in the Midwest? Why was that noticeable?
Well, no, it's just crazy because of like Barbie as a brand. Like it was just how amazing like the marketing was to like bring in like this wide range of demographics just to go see Barbie. So I mean, it was just
as your opinion on Spider-Verse a couple weeks ago.
I do not want to get started on that, but
I'm just giving you shit. Keep going, Brandon. You're good.
No, yeah. Just to put it short, it was just really great with the crowd there, and that experience just enhanced the movie that much better.
Absolutely, man. That's wonderful to hear, truly. And I'm upset you didn't get that drink, Brandon. You're supposed to be the
I
functioning
know.
alcoholic
I was
of
like,
Galaxy of
I was
Film.
ready to go all in on it, and then I just bought the pop, not realizing that. Oh yeah, I wanted the drink.
Goodness,
So,
bro.
oh man, I should have done it for Oppenheimer. I should have bought the drink for Oppenheimer.
You went back to the theater and didn't go back?
what would
Come
that even be?
on.
I know.
Gosh, I had the AMC I went to because unfortunately the one thing the Alamo doesn't have is like ices or slushies. I know it's kind of whack, Daniil. I saw that reaction. Yeah, it is whack. I know.
You need
And
a
so
Long Island iced tea though?
You can, yeah.
Oh, then you're good, man. You're good. Don't worry about it.
So thankfully at the AMC, whenever I'm there, I always get like a slushie or something. And I'm at this different AMC, and they had the Ninja Turtle slushie. So I did try that for my experience of Barbie.
Oh, what kind of slushie
Yeah, how was that?
So
It's like
You
green
know,
apple
man,
something, right?
it
Yeah,
is
it was-
green
it was-
apple. It is.
it was a
That's
green
the
apple,
disappointing thing. You know those popsicles where they're just the frozen tubes that you just throw in them in the freezer, like $5 for a
Oh,
bag
one of
them?
those popsicles.
Dude, I adore those. Like that is my go-to fucked up snack. They're just so good. And
Nothing
my
wrong with
favorite
that.
flavor is the green one because it's lime. I'm a big citrus guy. And so, like, I look at the slushy machine out of the corner of my eye, I see green. I'm like, oh man, there's a lime slushy for Ninja Turtles. Gotta get this. Unfortunately, man, it is the latter half. It's green apple, and green apple just isn't good, bro.
You don't like green apple?
Yeah, I know. It's not a good. I don't like that flavor either. That's what. That's why I didn't try it. I was like, I don't know. If it was lime, though, yeah. Like I'm on the same page as you.
Absolutely, man. I'm glad I'm not alone, Will. We're onto
Yeah.
something, bro. We're onto it. Jake, what was it like when you went to go see Barbie or Oppenheimer? Any special drinks at your theater?
No special drinks, unfortunately. I have been seeing the little advertisement for that Ninja Turtles thing, and I have no interest in that. And I was like, so for Barbie, I was like, all right, like because Barbenheimer could not have fallen on a worse week for me work wise. Because I was just like all closings, like I'm like I gotta go in the morning if I'm gonna do this. So I didn't get to do the double feature in one day, unfortunately, but I was like, I'm gonna have this all planned out. So I was like, I'm doing Oppenheimer Friday morning. Like that's the plan. So 10:30 a.m. IMAX Oppenheimer, and then like went directly to work after that, and it was just a nightmare. But that worked out. But then I'm like, all right, I can go to Barbie Sunday night. After work and after I get out. But then everybody started seeing it. And like people at work were starting to see it, and they're like, "We're gonna ruin it for you if you don't go see it." And I'm like, "Fuck, man, I gotta go see this movie." And then I look online, and then like some of these theaters just added so many showtimes, and I'm like, I convinced my girlfriend because she and I both worked at the same time on Saturday, and I'm like, "Let's do a 9 a.m. Saturday morning Barbie," and we fucking did it. And yeah, we went to see Barbie at 9 a.m. It was mostly it was like mediumly packed. I don't think it was like crowded. Yeah, I think they added a lot of these showtimes super last minute. I don't think they knew how like huge Barbie was going to end up being. So I think they added a lot of these showtimes and they opened a little earlier. It was great. I mean, and you guys are going to be proud of me. I've put my foot down with these theaters. Okay, so yes, there is a theater that I go to that I prefer. I'm like in Will knows the theater. Will knows the theater that I actively avoid, and the theater that I do go to is ideal. However, Theater 6 is not ideal in this theater because the screen is always goddamn blurry.
Yeah.
And I bought my Barbie tickets, and it was in Theater 6, and I'm like, motherfucker, man. I'm like, I can't do this again. I can't. So I'm like, I'm refunding the whole thing, and I did. And I'm like, I'm not going in Theater 6. So I bought tickets to the theater like 20 minutes away from me this way, and went there instead at 9 a.m. And I'm like, we did it. And I had a better experience for it. I have a very fun Oppenheimer story, but when we get to that, but
oh, great.
That was nothing wrong with the actually, yeah, there was something wrong with that theater, but we'll get there. But yeah, it was a lovely time. My girlfriend and I had a great time watching that in the morning. And we had some time before work, so we were able to get home and relax for a bit. And yeah, it was a good time. So not super busy. I mean, I guess I'm a little bummed that I didn't get to experience like this Endgame level hype that you guys all did. But I mean, I saw the box office results, so I know that it's fucking Endgame level. You know, it's like it is a huge success, and yeah, I had a lot of fun going to see it, and it's been fun. Like when I went to see Oppenheimer, like everybody there was like doing the double feature. Like I heard everybody after the movie ended, they're like, "All right, we got 2 hours." Like I'm like, "Oh, this is so fun." Like I wish I could stay with you guys, but I gotta go. But yeah, no, it was so much fun to see that, and movies are back, man.
Movies are back, Jake. And I'm glad you put your foot down finally. I know we've been talking about that since like you came on to Galaxy of Film for the first time. That awful Evita, man.
I can't win around here. I can't.
I feel you. So real quick, before obviously we're gonna go into our thoughts of the two films later on. What did your girlfriend think of Barbie, man? Because you got her up at what? I imagine like 8 o'clock to get ready for this movie.
So she is big into. She can probably hear me. She is very. she is big on. I know she is big on sleeping in, right? And I was nervous. I'm like, she's gonna refund this. Like, she's not gonna want to go. And so I get up. Because I'm the one working late on Friday, so this is a bigger commitment for me. But I'm gonna do it. So I was like, I get up and I hear the shower going, and I'm like, yeah, man, we're going. I was like, she's not, because I was worried I'm gonna wake up and she's gonna be knocked out and be like, I really don't want to do this. But no, she had it. She loved it. She wants to see it again.
That's the power of Barbie right there.
Yes,
absolutely.
I'm like, I'm not gonna make you do this for Oppenheimer because you're just gonna be having a miserable day after. But she's not the Oppenheimer, so that's fine. But yeah, no, she really liked Barbie, and she wants to see it again. So yeah.
That's great to hear, man. Great to hear. Glad we were able to get her perspective on this because, we weren't able to get a woman's perspective on this episode, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, she loved it.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. Unfortunately, I didn't get to do the double feature too, man.
I didn't either.
The concert I went to for Late Notice, which was Yates's band, Lead of Distinguished, was Thursday night. So I was like, we'll see Barbie at 3, go to the concert, and then the next day I had Friday off. I was like, we'll go see Oppenheimer on Friday. Just gonna have to rip it like that.
Am I the only one here that did the double feature?
I was about to ask. Did you did a double feature, Will?
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, on Monday I watched them both. Yeah.
Good.
Back to
what was
back.
your
I started with
like?
Barbie.
Lucky you.
So I went to the 12:30 show for Barbie, and it was like it wasn't completely packed. Like it was like a medium amount of people there. But there was there was a lot of different showings. Like there was a regular theater. I went to the Dolby Theater. Which was great with the sound and the visual.
I bet.
Yeah, and so there's not that many people there, but I went to Oppenheimer at the I think it was like a 4 o'clock show, and that was packed. Like I think it was sold out. And then as soon as I got out of the Oppenheimer showing, I just see like a horde of people all wearing pink. So I'm like, I know that because when I first went there in the morning, there was barely anybody around. So I assume it was just because it was like a 12 o'clock on a Monday that there wasn't that many people for those showings. But like definitely later, it was packed with a lot of people. So I could tell both of these movies must be doing pretty well. Yeah.
Did your theater do anything special for either? Like, what kind of theater did you see this in? An AMC, a Regal?
Yeah, AMC.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm pretty sure they came out with like a popcorn box for Oppenheimer.
I saw
like,
that.
It's based on like the implosion bomb that they made.
Oh,
yeah. So
cool.
I don't remember if the theater actually had it. Like I forgot to check because I was maybe a little bit. I might have gone and bought it for probably like $30 or something for those things. I remember for Dungeons and Dragons, my brother got the giant like D20 that they had, the dice rolling thing for the popcorn, and that was like $30. So I didn't even want to look and see if the Oppenheimer one was there because then I'd end up buying it. So and I didn't see anything else like crazy like that, but yeah, it was a great experience being able to watch both of them on the same day, and I think I did the right order, watching Barbie first.
Yeah, 100%.
And then going and watching Oppenheimer. Yeah,
I agree. So. What were you about to say, Brandon?
I know my theater did this, but did anyone have like the special like popcorn box where it was like a Barbie doll box? Anybody have that?
The AMC's around us had like there was like a ridiculously priced, $64.99 convertible
Yep.
like Barbie car, and like
I saw that.
it comes with the
Oh.
doll. Yeah. So I remember
Oh.
my girlfriend was like, I would buy that, which is ridiculous. But I mean, it's like a cool looking Barbie. It's like the Barbie that I think that she wore during like the whole 2001 opening. That
it's
clothes.
like the original.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
original one.
And it's in an exclusive box, I think, too. For like, it has the movie logo on there too. I was about to say.
Mm. Oh,
It's
that's
cool, man, but that's $64. Yeah, because I was like, I texted
Yeah.
my girlfriend. I was like, do we need the Barbie? I always text her like, do we need the popcorn tin, whatever movie we're seeing, just as a joke, because I have a whole stack of them.
Yeah.
Like I have one of the Hulk hands from Ragnarok just sitting on the floor over here, actually.
Oh, nice.
And so I sent her a picture of that. She's like, that's actually really sick. For $64 too, though. And they also, I don't know, like the point of these, but we had a little floaty, like pink flamingo cup holders as well.
Oh
They
yeah.
were inflatable. Like there wasn't anything like flamingo related in the Barbie movie I saw specifically. So I was like, that's an odd thing. Why not just like a
Maybe because
Ooh.
it's like beach themed, I guess. Maybe they wanted to do something
Yeah.
like that.
I guess so, maybe. Maybe that's a good point, I suppose.
Yeah, mine had like you could buy like a special like popcorn bag where it was like designed as one of like a Barbie doll box. So I know you could do that. And then I think there was another one where you could get like a drink, but it's like a beach ball shaped cup.
Oh, that's cool. That's pretty cool, man.
So I know there was a couple other things, but I can't remember at the top of my head. But those are the two things that just stuck out to me for that.
Let's talk about our Oppenheimer experiences real quick. Well, I know you did the double feature, which is I'm glad someone here did for sure. Unfortunately, it just didn't work out for the rest of us. I actually kind of went to my old stomping grounds, my old AMC as well. I know, Danilo, you always get kind of jitty when you get to go to your old AMC. But thankfully, my AMC had the laser IMAX showings, which was really cool to see Oppenheimer. And I had a buddy of mine who I used to work with at Marco's, a dear friend of mine named Josh. I'm putting my picture on the screen now with them for this. He's going to be working on another film I'm doing this year later on called Goonies and Agony. Really happy to have him into the film editing world with me in this part too. Because like this was my first ever job and I met Josh at. So to have someone I worked with, doing minimum wage bullshit where I was like, I just want to be a filmmaker, want to make movies one day, to now have him come in and help me on such a large project like Goonies and Agony means the world to me. And it was really cool to finally see a movie with him in theaters because I've been friends with this guy since like 2017. We've never seen anything together. But yeah, he hated Oppenheimer. He was falling asleep during it.
No. Such a nice story until he
Yeah.
didn't like it. God damn it.
No, not at all, man. Not at all. But someone else showing, I think, for Oppenheimer for the laser IMAX. It was really cool. Everyone was pumped for it. Everyone was speechless when the credits came on. I was very shocked at how respectful the crowd was for such a massive IMAX theater, for sure. Danilo, when did you see Oppenheimer? Did you see it Thursday?
No, I saw it Sunday night.
Okay.
So I think I did work this weekend. I worked this weekend, and Sunday I had the day off. Whole story about how they fucked up the schedule, got the union involved. None of us worked on Sunday, so we all went out for drinks Saturday night. And my goal was, because 20 cities got 70 millimeter IMAX. One of those cities happened to be just an hour away from where I live. And so what I was gonna do was drive my little hungover ass over to Grand Rapids and watch it. Sold out every single showing until it's taken out of 70 millimeter IMAX.
Wow.
That's wild.
Yeah,
But
it's
yeah,
crazy.
so I just I went home, I think Sunday then, did some chores or whatever, then just caught a showing back home when I got home. And it was almost a sold out theater. And it was 8 at night, which was wild to me. To just be sold out like that. Because it's a 3-hour movie and it's a Sunday night. Everyone has to work, and it's a Monday.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I saw it. There wasn't anything really special going on for it. Our theater, the theater I was up here are much smaller. We didn't get no popcorn thing. We just got like a pink Whitney drink or whatever. That was like that. Like that was your vodka of choice for Barbie, and like some kiwi stuff they put it on, and like they gave it a little umbrella, one of those beach umbrella things.
Okay.
And for Oppenheimer, they just said, he's a bottle of scotch. But yeah, dude. So no, they didn't have anything special. But it was a sold out theater. And the thing that made me so happy that I just want to say, and maybe it's because I'm in a college town. But what made me so happy when I did go see both these movies, it was young people who were seeing it. Like young people, no one over than 30 who were seeing like both these movies kind of. Like the majority was the younger demographic. And I was so happy because when I would go to my old stopping ground of AMC, I would always be the youngest one in there.
Yeah.
I would always be the youngest one in. So it was just so weird to me. So that might be because, demographic of where I live now. But yeah, I saw Oppenheimer Sunday night. Long ass movie. But yeah, it was good. It was a good showing for sure.
Very nice.
That's funny, Danilo.
Nice.
That's funny that you brought that up about like the younger people going and seeing Oppenheimer, and because right when I was about to scan my tickets to go in, these two dudes come walking up to me and my friend are like, "Hey, can we go in with you? Like we have our tickets, but like we're underage. Like we can't, like it's rated R, so like they needed like an adult with them or something." And sometimes they look at your ID, sometimes they don't. So I don't know. So I was like, yeah, come with me. And then so I helped them get in. And I was like, yeah, have a good time watching the movie. And I was really happy that I got to like make sure that these younger people went in to go see it, because it's just
a little bit of kindness goes a long way.
Absolutely,
it's so cool to be able to help people watch it.
Absolutely. Where were you when I was 19 trying to get a bottle, Will?
Yeah, right.
Jesus, dude.
Brandon, what was your Oppenheimer experience like? No drinks for this one. Did anything for Oppenheimer?
No, I got some chicken tendies though. I got some chicken tendies and fries.
Okay.
So that was nice for like the 3 hours I watched it. So I did like a Saturday morning at like 11:30 ish kind of. So like late morning. I went to a different Imagine theater this time to go see Oppenheimer. Like Danilo said, it was a good array of demographics for this one too. So there was a bunch younger crowd, and then there was a little mix of older crowd. So there was a nice like a nice combo, I guess, between the two. So it wasn't as packed, but it was a good majority compared to Barbie. So it was still a good crowd experience for Oppenheimer's this one. Fortunately, I did not see it in 70 millimeter. The only place that would show it nearby is an AMC, and fuck AMC, I am not going to an AMC theater again. So I ended up seeing like what did they call it? Like a premium format version or whatever they decided to call it. So I think it was like an IMAX style version of Oppenheimer. So I at least got to experience something like that. But man, only I saw the 70 millimeter. But fuck AMC. That's all I say.
It sounds like we gotta have Uncle Brian make a Nicole Kidman drink for you, Brandon. You gotta have some AMC love, bro.
Even the power of Nicole Kidman can't force me to go into an AMC.
You just don't understand how much I miss seeing Nicole Kidman come on before every single movie, man.
See, I didn't have that experience.
I miss it so much, dude. I would be there every Thursday when I went to Oakland University. Every Thursday night. It was pizza with grandma afternoon. Did some bullshit in the middle of the day, AMC at night. Had a girlfriend. I said, "Listen, I'm going to movies. This is my day. This isn't your day. This is my day."
Yeah,
And every day I would just go in my Dolby. They just got Dolby. I would get that my reserve seating, whatever. I would sit down, and I would see those footsteps walk across those puddles in that little gray raincoat. God, dude, I just warms my heart every time I see her when I go back home.
See, me, I didn't get to experience that until about a year or so ago, actually. Because at the Alamo, we had this really nice, their equivalent to the Nicole Kidman ad. It was like this montage of scenes in film where people are in a theater, when like their reactions to the screen back and forth. It was all that. And then I want to say right around the Multiverse of Madness came out last year, they switched it up. And it's kind of like a Monsters Incorporated style, like text on the screen, where it comes across of like some uppity music here and there, kind of giving you instructions on how the theater works. If you talk, you're ejected. If you need to place an order, raise your card up, all that kind of stuff. I miss the montage, bro. I truly do. I'm glad AMC has stuck with the Nicole Kidman stuff, because I wish the Alamo has stuck with the montage. I do miss that.
Yeah. I want a poster of it. I want a poster of just Nicole Kidman just walking around in that AMC, dude. If I could get a like image, like a poster that's like moving, like a GIF, whatever poster. It's just Nicole Kidman on loop, dude. I would spend a few bands on it. I'm not even gonna lie.
Oh,
Have like a movie poster version of Nicole Kidman with like the acting credits at the bottom.
Yeah,
Or something like that.
How about the 3D poster for Gemini Man? How it would fade back and forth between the different Will Smiths. You could do that with Nicole walking through and have the credits on it. That'd be cool.
Oh my god.
That'd
like
be
a
awesome.
serial
laugh.
backstory.
to cry. Dude, every time I go home and I see a movie, man, I just start clapping after she comes on. People think I'm fucking, just insane. But it's just what I love, man.
Wasn't there supposed to be a sequel to that though?
I think it's coming.
A sequel? Is it coming?
Oh, it's coming, man.
I think it's coming. Yeah,
It's gonna be bigger
I hope
than
it's
Endgame.
coming because I'm sick of this one.
You're sick of
I
it.
know. I'm sick of it. Yeah, man. I don't know. Sick of it.
Gosh.
Every time.
Nicole Kidman doesn't do it for you, man?
We got Brandon over here not even wanting to go to AMC for Nicole, and I got you sick of it. Come on, Jake.
Listen, I love AMC. I don't, well, except for the ones around me. And I think like the Nicole Kidman thing, I don't know. It's just like every time, like I'm here, right? Like it's like,
Yeah, but every time, man, I
They
wouldn't.
didn't used to play it in IMAX, the Nicole Kidman one.
no, they did. They
And-
did this time for Oppenheimer, but it was
Yeah.
short, which I loved. I was like,
Oh, I didn't even realize that.
Yes, it was like snipped up a little bit, and I'm like, all right, this I can get behind. Like just tweak it every once in a while, just so it feels new.
No,
and
man,
then
because you don't see the boxing. Then I know which one you're talking about. You don't see them boxing. You don't see.
He likes
you
the
don't see them
direct.
falling in love. You don't see
He
that.
likes the
bro.
director's cut.
You don't
He
see
likes the
La La
director's
Land
cut.
dancing. No, you
I
just
know.
skip that part, bro. Those are some
Skip the
great
whole
movies
thing.
you're missing. Whole thing. Give me the Snyder cut of the Nicole Kidman ad, man.
Oh my god!
Oh my god, yeah, Jesus.
I got a spam call coming in over here on my phone. Jesus Christ, bro.
It's Nicole. It's her.
It's Nicole.
Yeah, it's Nicole calling up. Like, why is Galaxy Film trashing, dude? This is where you get AMC's lawyers on the line soon enough, too. I'm about to press
Oh,
charges.
shit.
Jake, what was your Oppenheimer experience like?
So, okay. It was good. Like I went so weeks ago, before like the craze kind of took over, right? I knew my work schedule and I'm like, all right, I'm going to see Oppenheimer 10:30 a.m. in IMAX. I'm like, if I don't go in IMAX, I am not going. So I was like, I need to see it in IMAX. If I'm not, and I'm like everybody else, I wanted to go to 70 millimeter. That is booked solid until the second week of August. So I cannot go. It is booked. So that's not happening. I've kind of accepted that and I've, made my peace with that. So I was like, all right, next best thing, just regular IMAX, whatever. So I'm looking at the seating chart. Like I saw something on Twitter about like, this is where Nolan thinks you should sit. I got that exact seat. I'm like, I'm sitting right in the goddamn middle. I looked at the seating chart forever and I'm like, I'm going to sit kind of further back so I can get the whole thing. I'm going to sit right in the goddamn middle. And I did. I bought that seat. I was like, all right, here we go. I think I was like seat like J15 or something. It was right in the middle. And it was like
Listeners,
towards the
take
back.
notes.
Yes, guys. It's so much better that way. Until I get there and I walk into the row. And there's a dude sitting in my seat. And I'm like,
Those are
Hey.
the worst.
And it
I
was
was like, hey,
Christopher
man.
Nolan.
no. I wish. No, it was like a dude and his girlfriend.
This is why I wanted you to sit here.
Yeah, it was like a dude and his girlfriend. And they're sitting, in my seat and then the one to the left.
Yeah.
The one to
16
the
or whatever.
right. Yeah, the one to the right of this guy is empty. And I find out that's his seat. I'm like, so you two psychos bought the two seats surrounding me in the hopes that I would give you my seat. What if I said no? What if I said no and I sat right in the middle of you two for this 3-hour movie?
You should have said no.
I wanted to, but the guy was nice, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it, man. So I let him sit
who
there.
else was nice, man? You know who else seemed nice? Robert Downey Jr. in Oppenheimer.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Until he thought they were talking shit. Then he wasn't so nice, was it? so I let him sit there, and then the movie starts, and I'm like, I'm enjoying it. Like it's great. And then like I'm hearing like a generator starting up, like it's like, and I'm like, what's
So it's not just
Nolan
the
doing with the
soundtrack?
sound? Yeah, I'm like, what is Nolan doing? And I legitimately was like, that's the movie. Like, I thought so. And then, like, everybody's kind of looking around like, that sounds like it's in the room. And I'm like, yeah, that is not the movie. Like, it's like, there's no way. Like, I know the soundtrack is, like, overbearing sometimes, and it's like, but I'm like, this is not the movie. And then I'm seeing, like, theater guys come in. I'm seeing that, like, exit door open and, like, the lights come in. And I'm like, okay, something's wrong.
There's like smoke coming out from.
Yeah, I'm like, are they going to bomb us? Like, this is crazy.
4D experience, baby. 4D
Yeah,
It's all
experience.
him in the sabotage in the
felt
theater.
like it. No, it was like, but luckily, like, that kind of was resolved. And I was like, okay, good. And then, like, this group of, like, teenage girls come in and they sit right in front of me. And I'm like, oh, no, like, they're going to talk the whole movie. Like, they're only here for the meme. Like, they're going to be miserable once they find out how goddamn slow this movie is. But they were so respectful and it seemed like they loved it. And yeah, man, you could hear a pin drop in a lot of these scenes with, like, you know, when the bomb first goes off and all these things, like when there's like these large moments of silence, like it was so refreshing to see everybody be so respectful. And yeah, I was like, and the IMAX seats are fucking horrible, and like I'm like shoulder to shoulder with these people, and I like, and it's
my experience
it is
too.
packed. Like, it was really packed. 10:30 a.m. on a Friday. I was like, damn, like, this is packed. And like, when I bought tickets, it was relatively empty. That's why I was able to, like, just look at it for so long and be like, where am I going to sit? Like, I care a lot about this. I want to make sure I have a good experience with this. And yeah, no, it was great. I want to go back. I thought it was awesome.
Yeah,
and it was a great experience despite that initial, bullshit, I guess. But it was nothing to do with the theater. Like, the sound was good. The quality of the picture was great. It was I think it's probably the best IMAX I have seen. It's definitely up there. I was really, really, yeah, it was great. It was the way I was like, I can't imagine watching this another way. Like, I feel like it would cheapen the experience a little bit. Like, it was so good. Like, and the seat, everything was great. I was very happy with the time I put into it.
I feel you, man. I agree. This is definitely one of the best IMAX experiences I have. I think the only ones that I can truly compare, the Batman opening night, because I got to see the like Tuesday early release for an IMAX when that happened. Seeing Dune in IMAX is solid because I see these in like the biggest screen in the state normally at the Marbles Theater. However, because it's attached to a kids museum, they don't play rated R movies, so they didn't get Oppenheimer sadly. And then I also saw Force Awakens in 3D there, which was incredible. Looked like a stage play. It was so clear. Like the Starkiller base fight between Rey and Kylo is gorgeous on the IMAX screen. And the other most memorable one, dude, that I'm so proud that I saw this in IMAX opening weekend, was Speed Racer, the movie. So damn good.
Never sleep on that movie ever. Don't ever
Exactly.
sleep on that movie, dog. Don't ever sleep on that movie.
It's so incredible. Speed Racers is so underrated, man. I love the shows too growing up.
Yeah.
So good. But Oppenheimer definitely was up there on my list for like top 10 or IMAX experience or top IMAX experiences of all time, man. An incredible experience. Will, I know you said you did the double feature, obviously. Was there anything like standout moments during your Oppenheimer viewing for you before we talk about these films?
I mean, I think thankfully in a way, like, not really, because everybody was so invested in the movie. There was not really, like, the audience was very respectful and quiet during like the whole thing.
Okay.
And so like that, like, in a way that's like kind of like, yeah, that was actually a great experience because people weren't like being obnoxious or anything, because like it was mostly like older people at the showing. I could tell that that's the kind of movie that was, it's going to draw those types of audiences in. And I think that's part of it too. But yeah, it was like very similar to Jake. Shoulder to shoulder. Because I think we literally saw it in the same exact theater. So
Definitely.
Yeah. My only problem was it was the AC. They need to boost that up in there or something. It was
Yes.
because it's been real hot where we live recently, and it was a packed theater, an IMAX theater. I mean, that's like how many bodies in there?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was hot in there, bro. Even for my theater, I was sweating in there the whole time. And it
It
was
was
also
3
shoulder to
hours
shoulder.
back.
I think at one point when Josh was nodding off, I think he almost like put his head on my shoulder. We were so close, man. It was rough in there. It was hot. I'm glad everyone was respectful. I'm so happy everyone had a great time during these two films. Because we've been talking about this all year. This is the cinematic event of the summer. This is Hollywood versus Hollywood this week, and I'm just thrilled it worked out for everybody. Everyone seems to love it, like reception wise, fan wise. Like diehard Barbie fans are loving this. Christopher Nolan fans are loving Oppenheimer. This was a solid week in cinema for sure. It's been a jam-packed summer with everything back to back to back, and things feel a bit rushed at times too. But this makes it seem worth it. Kind of filing through some of the bullcrap movies for sure. But before we go ahead and start talking about our films for this week, obviously Barbie and Oppenheimer, let's go ahead and talk some news real quick. First up, we just kind of have an image of this. Chris Pine's directorial debut, Pool Man. This film will follow the life of a pool cleaner who discovers an elaborate plot to rob Los Angeles of its water. I've been vocal on the podcast before. I wasn't such a big Chris Pine fan prior to the release of Don't Worry Darling, and I think I'm the only person who can say that. But I'm kind of excited for this, man. He was very much an annoying actor in my opinion up until I kind of had a bit more respect for him during the whole drama fest that was Don't Worry Darling. So I'm really just interested to see what he can do as a director. We just have the one image so far, and he kind of looks like a Big Lebowski character, like Jeff Bridges, the dude. But Jake, what are your thoughts on this? Have you seen this image? What do you think of Chris Pine in this film?
I'm surprised he's starring in it, but I thought the photos were good. I mean, it's he's rocking the big beard, right? Is that what that's the one? Yeah. I didn't know the plot until you just read it there. I'm interested. I again kind of like you. I was I never really was impressed with Chris Pine. But I liked him in the Star Trek movies. I thought he was good, but nothing about him was super. He was the worst Chris, in my opinion, right?
Yeah.
He was it's Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, Chris Pratt, Chris Pine. He was never really the top of the chart there. Mm-hmm. But recently, I mean, he's been kind of on a good roll. I really enjoyed him in Don't Worry Darling. I thought he was the kind of a standout with Florence in that one. And I liked him a lot in Dungeons and Dragons. I thought he was super charismatic in that, and I thought he kind of held his own with everybody. Really good lead there. And I think he's got what it takes now. I think I'm curious to see what he would do as a director. So yeah, I'll definitely check it out. Is this getting released in theaters or is this going to streaming?
I haven't seen any word on that just yet.
No. Okay. Well, yeah, I'll watch it wherever it goes.
Okay, Brandon, you had a chance to watch Dungeons and Dragons. Did an LFG on it earlier this year. What are your thoughts on this piece of news? Because you've had that experience with Chris Pine as well.
Yeah. So it does sound interesting. I think Chris Pine was definitely very good in Dungeons and Dragons. Like Jake said, he definitely held his own for how array the cast was, or how wide or variety the cast was. So he was very good in that movie. And it's also nice hearing about, or it's nice seeing actors getting out of their comfort zone and stepping more into different behind the scenes roles in movies, either as a director or writer or something along those lines. It's just nice of them just to hear about them getting putting more, I guess, work to their resume, I guess. But I mean, again, it's only a image, so it's not much to go off of, but it does sound very interesting to hear. When we hear more about it, I'll definitely have some thoughts about it, but yeah, it sounds interesting so far.
I feel you, man. I feel you. I haven't seen any other casting announcements for this film other than Danny DeVito being involved in co-starring in this, apparently.
Oh.
Which, I think everyone kind of loves some Danny DeVito. Will, what are your thoughts now that DeVito's kind of mixed into this as well? Are you a fan of his work?
Well, this is the first time me hearing about this movie. So, okay. I like Chris Pine. I think he was really good in Wonder Woman as well as Dungeons and Dragons. And obviously Danny DeVito is a legend, so that it sounds like a pretty good duo if that is the case. And so yeah, I'd like to see more about this movie before it comes out, and maybe I'll check it out.
Okay, very nice, man. And Danilo, I know you're not a big comedy person, man, but you like those B movies. What are your expectations for this?
Low, almost zero, on the ground. I don't care for Danny DeVito and Chris Pine, dude. I don't think he has a look of talent.
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
Wow.
All right, well, let's talk about this next piece of news. I know you were a bit vocal on it earlier this episode. The Travis Scott film Circus Maximus. This is being produced by A24. We've been discussing this, I think, since like episode 20 something of the podcast, about how there was rumors of a film that he was working on. Now that we have some images from this, obviously it's releasing this Thursday, I believe, as well, with the album and a title. Yep. What are your thoughts on this bit of news? Like this whole shebang coming out and this project in particular.
It looks gorgeous. I just don't know what the hell it's gonna be about. I don't know if it's gonna be a documentary. Is it gonna be the album itself with just a bunch of flashing images and him performing songs in these states, or not in these states, in these countries? Because that's what it is, and I believe that's what he shot. I know there's another one that comes out at the Venice Film Festival, which is not involved, which isn't this one. I think that's one by A24. I don't think A24 did this one, which is interesting to me. That there's two films that he's done.
Okay, I didn't know there's two. My bad.
Yeah, I actually think I think A24 did one because he shot one in all infrared, and so I think that's the A24 one, and this one's just his and the Venice Film Festival one, where this is then just his companion piece to the album.
Okay.
He's a marketer for sure. He's someone I don't remember what I watched. I don't remember who said it. I was watching an interview with someone who was talking about Travis Scott, and they said he's a producer at heart. We know he's produced some things on Yeezus. We know he was a producer before he became the rapper. At the end of the day, he is a producer. Like, he knows how to roll stuff out. And this is just, another one of his talents that he's using. It looks good, though. It looks gorgeous. The trailer looked gorgeous. The music, the sound design looked fantastic. Once again, mine sold out. Mine sold out in the first hour. I didn't think I would go back home on Thursday because I was like, I thought I worked Friday morning, but I don't. Or else I would have gotten tickets to it. But yeah, it sold out. And only 2 theaters got in Michigan, close to where I live back home. Sold out, but I'm pumped for it. I'm pumped for it. I think it'll be good, but I just don't know what it'll be. It's always interesting when music creators or anyone who's not directly involved in film steps behind the camera and makes a film.
Absolutely, man. It's also sold out. Not sold out, but it's not playing in Raleigh, surprisingly, where I live. The closest showing actually is in Fayetteville at 2 theaters, which is really odd because they were within a mile of each other.
That's how ours are. Ours are at
really?
2 AMC. Ours are at 2 AMCs, which are in the same township. Yeah. So it only takes like a 10-minute drive to each one, just depending on which one you want to go to.
Yeah, then there's some in Charlotte playing, I think, at 2 locations as well. And then I think one in Greensboro, which is like an hour from me in the opposite direction of Fayetteville.
Okay, yeah.
So it's just, I'm really surprised we have so many theaters in North Carolina playing this one. Because it's only like an hour and 15 minutes long, I think, too. So a really niche audience. It's kind of hard to justify those price tickets because, I don't think this is one of those things where you can use your season pass or your A-list for. It's one of those special showings. So you're going to be paying the $15 or $16 for that, So,
yeah. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me either. If he's doing, I know why he did pick the time that he picked. I think he picked 10 o'clock our time. If it wraps up around 11:30.
Yeah,
I believe 12. Then 12's obviously when the album drops. But if rumor has it, and I don't know if it's been confirmed or canceled, he's supposed to perform in Egypt this Friday as well. Whole album. So I have no idea. I think that's Friday night though. Our Friday night.
Okay.
So I don't know, but we'll see.
Interesting. We will see. It'll definitely be something we'll talk about next week on the podcast, I imagine, for sure. Brandon, you're in Michigan as well. You've been friends with Danilo for quite some time, so I imagine you've been exposed to some Travis Scott stuff. However, I'm not too sure if we've talked about your taste in music before. Clearly I'm wearing a Wu-Tang shirt right now, so we know what I'm into. What are your thoughts on Travis Scott and this movie coming out, man? Are you going to be listening to Utopia this Friday night?
It's cool.
Brandon's been exposed, man, but I don't think Brandon's gonna be dialing in at 12:01 a.m. listening and play on track 1 of Utopia, man.
I mean, cool for him. Hip hop is like not my genre of music. I'm more of like alt rock type of music, guys. So
Okay.
this is not for me, but good for him. That's all I
There
have
you
to
go,
say.
man. The positivity can last despite not having the interest. I'm here for it. Jake, what about you? 12:01. Are you there? Are you gonna have this downloaded before Brandon does?
Probably before Brandon. Yeah, I think like I don't
You
know
might
about
you might beat
like,
me to it.
actually, you know what? Maybe I will. I will tune in at 12:01 because you know what? I'm working till midnight, so I will listen to that on the drive back. I do feel bad for Post Malone though, because
Oh,
I think
dude, that's tough. That's tough.
his album his album's dropping on Friday too. So
Oh.
so he's gonna get fucked by this drop.
Yeah.
Like poor guy. Yeah, no, this one. I mean, yeah, we've been talking about it forever. I think we even mentioned this film like back when I was originally like first on the podcast a long time ago. I still think it's going to be like that Halsey film they did, because I think her album was coming out, and I actually drove. My girlfriend's a big Halsey fan, and the two of us drove to like some random theater that was showing. It's like a one night event, and we went to see it. It was like 50 minutes, and it was her entire new album, and I think it will be like that. I mean, it's really cool. I saw that he's like collaborating with like a bunch of different directors for it. That's pretty interesting. And yeah, I saw that like it says produced by A24 on the poster, but then I think A24 came out and was like, we have literally nothing to do with this or something like that, right? It was like, I don't remember like
that. Yeah.
it was something weird, but maybe it's part of the marketing. I don't know. But I mean, I did just look while we were talking about it. I looked at my the theaters around me. Yeah, they're all sold out. I mean, there's actually one theater, like the one I went to see Barbie.
Okay.
They have 3 showings of this. So one of them is booked, totally sold out, every seat sold, and then like there's a 10:30 one. That one's pretty like you can still get seats, and there's one at 11:30 which is totally empty. So there's a couple around. I cannot attend any of them, but yeah, I'm interested in it, and I think like at some point they will release this somewhere. So it definitely will be available to view at some point. Just a matter of where. But yeah, no, I'll definitely tune in. I'm a fan of him, and I'm a fan of Post. So you know, Friday is a good day for me.
I didn't know Post was dropping an album on Friday. That's disappointing, man.
He announced it 2 months ago that he's dropping an album this Friday.
See, man, when Stoney came out, and I think I talked about this with you, Danilo, when we were in Atlanta, because I bought Stoney on vinyl, and I finally found it. You know, Stoney was definitely my album in 2017. I like Beer Bongs and Bentley. I'm not a fan of Hollywood's Bleeding. The last one I did enjoy. I forget the name of it. My bad. But with Lemon Tree is a great song on that album. It's a good acoustic album for sure. But I don't know if he just peaked too early or if he just has to find his footing again as an artist. But I just really fell off on him, man. Truly. So I don't know. I'll definitely listen to Utopia on Friday. Don't know if I'll be listening to Post, though, which is unfortunate because I loved his stuff at the first bit of it, man. Loved White Iverson for sure. Will, are you seeing this opening night on Thursday, bro? Do you have your 10 o'clock ticket already reserved for Travis's movie?
I think my only exposure to Travis Scott until now has been the Travis Scott burger.
Oh, wow.
I don't think I've
Cactus Jack Burger.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever actually listened to any of Travis Scott's music or anything.
Yeah.
I'll give it a shot. I like being open-minded about whatever. Like, so Danilo, Travis Scott, he's good music he makes. You were hyping him up before. You like it? I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, I like it.
When somebody gives me a recommendation, I'll check it out. So I'm open to it.
We'll make you a playlist. We'll make you a playlist.
Yeah.
Put it on Apple Music. Galaxy of Film Music Racks.
Yeah, there we go. Then we'll post those every week.
Nice.
I know one of the directors of this piece is Gaspar Noé, the French director, who did a little film that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Jake, I think the first episode of Galaxy of Film you on was Climax. Am I mistaken?
Yes, but it's okay. I was on the first one. I was on was Green Knight and Jungle Cruise.
That was the first one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember?
I didn't
remember
I
you
didn't
texted
see
me.
Climax at the time.
Oh, I thought you were on much. Dude, time's just
I
flying
know.
by. Everything merges together at this point of how old we are. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
anyways, we've talked Climax here on the podcast before. I'm not a fan of this director's work. Danilo, finish this off with news real quick on your thoughts. What are you expecting of this director being involved? Because we have watched his stuff before. We've discussed him on the podcast specifically.
Yeah, it makes me feel like it's gonna be a music video. Like, who was just saying that about that Halsey? That's what makes me feel like it. You know, like he's taking you to Utopia. There's so much. There has been so much promotion that has been now. Like, there was promotion. Fuck, I don't know. When the album got announced, there was promotion. There was little listening events to it, and then it got that whole delay or whatever. And they were saying like it's a place you feel like Astroworld was a place, but Utopia is like a feeling. And if I remember, and they went and it was like an arcade type thing that they were showing it, and or they were previewing the music and they were handing out little like packets to it. I think it was a Rolling Loud little section or whatever, what have you. If you look it up, you'll probably find it. But anyway, though, if it's an experience and if it's a feeling, Gaspar Noé seems like the director who can invoke that feeling, as that was basically what Climax was. You know, so I'm excited to see what he's gonna do with it. But if you look at those images that were released with the trailer, I know it's just a trailer, but if you look at the images and that were released, or if you just watch the trailer, it looks more like it's music with images, like experimental filmmaking, kind of, more than anything is what I would describe it as. So it'll be interesting to see what that will be like.
Sure. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I imagine whenever hopefully it comes out to physical media, we'll be discussing this in the podcast at some point. Because why wouldn't we at this point, man? We've been following this film along since it was announced. Pieces like these we have to cover at some point, for sure. Gosh, I feel old, man. I feel like an old man. But
I feel old. I was 18 when The Man last dropped. I just graduated high school. I was going to college.
Me too, man, yeah.
And now I'm 23 years old. That's wild.
It is, man. It is. What's even more wild is about how a bunch of 23-year-olds or men in their mid-20s all dressed up and got up early to go see Barbie. Danilo, go ahead and give me a recap of the Barbie movie.
All right, dude. So we start off with 2001, a Barbie movie. Everyone. So Barbie's Mattel just made Barbie. That was revolutionary for toys, I guess it would be called, right? Toys, dolls. I don't think it would be dolls. Toys. It's a toy. Barbie comes in this scene, and we have Barbie Land. Barbies are Barbies. Kens are Kens. Everyone's named Barbie. Everyone's named Ken. Whatever. Margot Robbie then has an epiphany one day, and she's like, "Oh my god, I want to die." And you're like, "Whoa, that's not a very Barbie-like thought, actually." So she's like, "What the hell?" Then her feet get flat or whatever, and then we go see some retired lady from SNL who comes onto the screen, and she's all like, "Do you want Birkenstocks? Do you want high heels?" Personally, I know many girls. I'm in East Lansing. I'm in a college town. There are so many women who wear Birks over high heels, man. I think Birks are more comfortable. I'll pick Birks any day over a high heel. But anyway, though, we keep going on. And I guess Barbie has to go to real world time now because she's having an existential crisis. And there's this Ken guy who likes her, named Ken, played by Ryan Gosling. And they travel to Barbie world. We get a little Beau is Afraid type action. And they travel to Barbie world or whatever, man. And they're skating or whatever. And Ken finds out about the patriarchy. Barbie finds out about the patriarchy, both in different ways. And we see Will Ferrell. And he's all like, I actually don't know what the hell he's supposed to represent in this entire movie. Dude. He's just a lunatic. But anyway, though, man, he's the president of Mattel or whatever. He's trying to make sure Barbie goes back to Barbie Land. And all the while, Ken already went back to Barbie Land, and he's turning Barbie Land into Ken World or Mojo Dojo Casa House or something.
The Kendom, dude.
Yeah, the Kendom. Yeah, the Kendom. So he's chilling. He's living his best life or whatever. Barbie goes back. We find out, we get a big twist that the Barbie isn't the girl, but it's the older mom. And she's having depressing thoughts because she's a mom and life is hard as a mom. She wasn't single. I don't know why I was about to say that. Her husband was at the end of the film. But anyway, though, she's having a hard life, whatever. They go back to Barbie world. It's not the patriarchy. It's not real world. It's not Barbie world anymore. And so you're like, God damn it. And Will Ferrell's like, fuck, we need Barbie world to be Barbie world again. And the Barbies are like Barbie. Well, our Barbie was like, we need our Barbies to be Barbies again, and so they gather the misfits. They seduce the Barbies about womanhood and everything that's what it means to be a woman or whatever, and that changes the Barbies out of the patriarchy and back into the matriarchy, and then the Barbies rule the world, and we get a Ken fight because they turn the Kens on one another. Dude, oh man, sorry to whoever I made you watch The Godfather. I'm real sorry. That was in my letter, dude. Shout out to the ex-girlfriend who I made watch The Godfather, dude. But anyway, though, we keep going on. And Ken and them are like beaching each other off a bit, and then they start this dance move, dude. And I transcend I transcend higher than I have been in like 50 years or whatever. And Kens are like, we're actually just Kens, bro. So you're enjoying life as a Ken now, but they forgot that they were gonna, make sure the patriarchy was intact. And the Barbies kind of threw a coup, and so they made sure the matriarchy's intact. And so Barbie tells Ken, like, just find yourself, man. You'll be okay. I don't like you. Don't touch me. And Ken's like, I'll find myself. Don't worry, Barbie. And then the movie ends where Barbie becomes a girl. Our ordinary Barbie becomes a girl or a woman or alive. I guess our ordinary Barbie becomes alive.
A human.
Human, yeah. And then she has to go to her gynecologist.
That was the most testosterone-filled recap I could have imagined.
Talk about the patriarchy.
Yeah, for real, man.
Yeah.
Gosh, Brandon, I need one of those Pink Whitney Barbie drinks your theater had.
What was it called? I think it was like a Pink Paradise. I think that was called the drink.
I don't know. We'll have to have Brandon make it up for us next. Or not Brandon, Brian next time he's on the show, man. Go ahead and get some drink in the movies going on here. But yeah, the Barbie movie, in the theme of what David does of piecing it together, I kind of do these bits here and there, talking about movies that inspire other movies, basically copying what his show does, just for a small, reference piece. Right off the bat, this reminded me of the Fat Albert movie, man, in a great way.
Oh no.
No, this does. This is great. I love the Barbie movie, And I love that it makes me think of the Fat Albert movie because I love the Fat Albert movie. This whole coming out of the
movie we watched where the kid tried to kill himself a few times.
What?
No, not that one.
No,
you remember the kid who tried to kill himself, dude, and then turned into Roderick Rules or whatever? And he was a drummer.
No, he was in Oppenheimer.
That was Fat Kid Rules the World, man.
Yeah, that was. I knew they were about fat people, dude. I knew about. Okay, never mind. I got the fat movies mixed up.
Fat Albert, man. The Fat Albert movie with Kenan Thompson from SNL.
Oh no, I don't watch that type of fat.
Will and I have a nice history with Fat Albert.
Oh, I love Fat Albert, man. But I love the whole stepping out of the fictional animation or toy world into the human world and struggling to kind of bring those cartoon and simplistic and basic general morals into a world that doesn't respect them or kind of acknowledge them, this dysfunctional civilization that we are living in. I love that kind of stuff, man. And Barbie reminded me of that movie in the most pleasant ways, for sure. I know you're judging me for it right now, Jake.
I'm glad you found it, but
yeah, dude, that's just talk about.
I love Fat Albert
take for sure.
You said you
Fat
love
Albert
the Fat
is a
Albert
great movie. I do love it. Yeah, no, the history with it is we used to get our friend a Fat Albert DVD for his birthday every year, and the dude's got 17 of them. It's fucking amazing. We do it every year. It's so good.
One of them was a French version of it or something.
Yes,
remember the cover was in French. I don't know why we started this, but
it's the best ongoing joke. That is the Fat Albert joke.
Oh, I love that, man. Hold on real quick. We got some comments to read off. We got one from Gamer Harold, just a smiley face emoji and a game controller. What's up, bro? You are a legend. Harold, how was your experience for Barbie, first off, dude? Because I didn't see you post about this in the fan club this week, man. Thursday hit, and I was like, where's my post from Harold? I was a bit sad. So let us know your thoughts on Barbie, bro. We also got Anthony, who is known as Tone Dog from the Ken Dog stuff going on. What's up, my friends and fam? Nothing much, man. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the podcast. This week, we're just getting in it with Barbie. Jake, real quick, bro, before, since we're diving into Barbie now, do you see the connection I'm making here, Fat Albert, or am I crazy?
I do. No, I would have never thought of that, but it is funny that I agree. There are similar like themes here where it's like, they go to the real world. I haven't seen Fat Albert in literally probably over a decade, but like,
Yeah, I don't remember anything about it.
I've definitely seen it. I saw it a lot, like, because my baby sister, like, we have Sesame Street. Some kids have Teletubbies. My youngest sister watched Fat Albert every night. She would get upset if she was not in a high chair in front of the TV watching Fat Albert. It played every night to the point where like we got like physically ill when it came on, and it's like I've seen it millions of times, but I don't remember a thing about it. But I definitely remember the plot of like going to the real world. You learn something from me, I'll learn something from you. It's the same kind of thing. And yeah, it's a classic plot structure. I thought it was great, and no, you're not crazy for thinking that at all.
Okay, thank you, man. Thank you. Brandon, I'm very curious to hear some of your thoughts on Ken specifically, because I know we were kind of all anticipating Ken and Barbie to just kind of be like this cookie cutter couple we're going to see to come together and go on a little adventure, toys to life more or less coming through. I was expecting something kind of like Toy Story's Ken and Barbie, for sure. What were your thoughts on Ken specifically, though, Brandon?
Ken is Ken, for sure. Ken is Ken. I don't want to go too much into it, but I really thought going in, I thought they were going to be the couple, Barbie and Ken. I didn't expect them to go the vaguely gay area with Ken. I guess in that aspect. So it was kind of refreshing to at least get the character, get that what?
You just lost me there for a minute, man. But just keep going.
What?
We'll we'll touch base afterwards. Keep going.
All I say is I didn't think they were gonna go that route. So I'm kind of glad they went that route instead of just cookie cutter Barbie and Ken as a couple. That's all. So, see, now you're judging me.
I feel like all the Kens and all the Barbies are like vaguely gay in a way. You know what I mean?
I mean, maybe.
Yeah, vaguely gay.
I don't know. Like, I'm not trying to be that guy, but like, come on, guys, we're a bit fruity every now and then.
Yeah, exactly.
I
related to it, man.
I thought Ken represented everyone, bro. I was like, yo, here we go, man.
Ken is Ken.
All right, dude, that's cool, man. Never mind then, Brandon. That's cool, man.
Oh boy,
there's not much explanation.
Listen, what it sounds like to me is, Brandon, you've just never been beached off at a beach, dude, and that's okay, man. That's really okay.
Nobody's beaching anybody off, Danilo. So
no, we have all been beached off.
Nobody is beaching anybody off.
No, the 4 people else who are on this, I don't want to speak for everyone else, but I know we've all been beached off by the bros, dude. Come on now.
Yeah, of course, man.
Always.
Are you implying something here, Danilo?
Yes, just like the movie.
We're not implying it. We're saying it.
Yeah, I think I just said it clearly, man.
I'm about to say,
I love it, man. I love it.
Brandon, if you look at the Galaxy of Film YouTube, I did a whole video where just beaching someone off and being free little nugget. Only the best here in Galaxy of Film, man. Will, when you walked out of the theater, man, what was your first initial reaction? Did you just want to go ahead and beach someone off?
Oh, no, yeah, of course.
Well,
I mean, that's just regardless, even without seeing the movie. But, I really, my first reaction was that I really enjoyed it. Mm-hmm. And I was actually really surprised by how, like, deeply, like, on the forefront, the politics of it is. I was expecting it to be more, like, subtextual. But instead, it was just that was like constantly being the thing that like they were talking about very directly, which in a way, like I respect that a lot more like nowadays, because you'll get people like if you're too vague about what the themes and the messages are, sometimes like the wrong groups will latch onto it, like how The Matrix was supposed to be like an anti-capitalist thing about like gender expressions, whatever, because the directors turned out to be trans women that whatever. But then like you get like the red pill community. It's like a bunch of like incel like far right wing neo Nazi types that are like, we love the Matrix. It's about us, and it's like, no, it wasn't. So like, so I really appreciate that nowadays. Like, and one of my favorite quotes from anything is from Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that show. There's a great quote where it's like, I know writers who use subtext, but they're all cowards. You know, like, just be like forward with what you're doing sometimes. Like, be confident about it. I'm glad the movie was confident in the ideas and the themes that it had. And they and to me, like I could see why someone would be like, oh, there's too much politics in this. But like at the same time, it was so funny, like the way that they did it. And yeah, like that was something I appreciated a lot, was that. And then yeah, I mean the set design and the how colorful it is. I thought the performances were great. Yeah, I ended up really, really enjoying this movie, and it ended up being a far more like deep and complex thing than I expected it to be.
Okay.
Which I should have realized, because Greta Gerwig is a great director, and I really love Lady Bird. I meant to watch. I was about to sit down and watch Little Women like the night before, but I ended up getting too tired. So yeah, that.
I have not seen Little Women as well. But I agree, man. I think the Barbie film is incredibly inclusive in such a tasteful way. The representation of being able to have all the different Barbie and then literally just being called Barbie, and same thing of Ken, was hilarious. It felt very like Lego movie-esque towards the beginning, where we see this routine they're having to go through every single day, back and back, where our main character's, hi Barbie, hi Barbie, hi. I love that, man. It was funny the whole time. I agree as well. The set design's fun. I'm glad that everything looked plastic and tangible and like a toy physically. Like even from the roller skates we see whenever she comes from Barbie Land to the real world, you see the plastic molding on the skates, particularly like the action or like the doll. Excuse me. And that reminds me as well, the sequence of coming from Barbie Land, a little montage where we just kind of see cut from different locations back and forth. Until they eventually get to like Venice Beach, I think it's called. I love that bit. Like this movie isn't afraid to just be a movie at the end of the day. There's random fourth wall breakings where like we'll have a narrator kind of pop in, like they'll make a comment saying like, oh yeah, Margot Robbie's clearly not the right person for this right here, but whatever.
That was funny. That was funny.
Like this, at the end of the day, is one of the like best directed films I've seen all year.
Yeah.
It's not afraid to be a standout piece. It's not afraid to be a movie, and I love that. It's a great story. It's inclusive. It's colorful. It looks damn good, and it feels like it's done with a lot of love. And I also love the inclusion of. I know the creator of Barbie has like passed away. I think in like 2007, I want to say, or 2006 or something.
Somewhere in the 2000s.
Yeah. So I love that we get the inclusion of a character inspired or her as a character in this film, and they kind of touch on like her tax evasion stuff, which is also really funny. Overall, like I'm really impressed with the Barbie film. I went in there with really high expectations, thinking it was just going to be over the top, like ridiculous, because it was this huge budget Barbie film with Margot Robbie, who, looked incredible in the trailers. And we see the trailers do the 2001 Space Odyssey parody thing. And we were all like, what is this movie? Like, what are we going to get ourselves into? I was thoroughly impressed. This movie is bold, and it doesn't back down in ways that other movies would. Jake, what are some of your thoughts on this? It's, now having known, I see a weird Fat Albert inspiration in this film.
Yeah, man. No, I see the comparisons and I agree with them. Yeah, I was expecting, like you mentioned, I was expecting the Lego movie. Like that's what I was thinking I was walking into. Like, a toy-based IP movie where it's, it tacks on all the references and all this like self-referential stuff, and it's got a little bit of that, but it's not that and I really appreciated that. And it was, I think word started to get out like once Greta Gerwig was like, her and her husband were writing this, and like she's directing, and her husband Noah Baumbach is like a really talented filmmaker as well. And he's got a really awesome voice in this in that industry. And that was encouraging that this wasn't going to be that. And it wasn't that. And like you guys have been saying, the production design is top notch. Everything feels very tangible and like lived in, and it was really well adapted. And yeah, I can totally see the creative influences from other films here from Greta, and like she did a great job with the film. And I thought like everybody in it was great. Some of the like Mattel stuff was a little weird, but I thought it was still good. Like it's still enjoyable to watch, and I guess you could argue why they're so over the top, because that was my one big thing where I'm like, everything in Barbie Land is allowed to be heightened and kind of insane, and then when they get to Mattel, it's also heightened and even more insane, and it's like, what the hell? But I guess you can argue they created that, so it makes sense. But everything felt really, really, really authentic and with like a lot of care, and it was so clever and so creative, and I just had a great time with it. And yeah, I thought everybody kind of came to play. It was hilarious. I laughed like surprisingly a lot. And I don't usually like die laughing at a lot of these movies, but like, I don't know, my girlfriend and I were just sitting there like, oh my god, like this is like actually like funny. Like they did a really great job making this like legit funny. And it's not at like anybody's expense. Like I thought like so much like visual like gags were going on. Like I laughed every time they're throwing clothes out and then it just opens up and says like, that was
advertisement.
That was like, it was just it probably doesn't like read well on the page, but once you see it, it's so funny. It was so dumb, but it made me laugh every time. And just everything with Ken was great. Ryan Gosling was fantastic. You could tell they probably had a lot of fun filming this.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's so it's a party, and it was so infectious, and you felt like included in the party, which I really appreciated.
Absolutely, man, absolutely. Real quick, looking back at the comment section, we got Kukyo saying, "What's up, Max? This is Javi. What's up, dude? Went to high school together. Great guy. Glad to see you in the chat, bro. How are you been? And did you watch Barbie? If so, comment down your thoughts below real quick." Now, Danilo, obviously you're a big beach offer, and we've been hyped up for this movie for a bit, and we have seen and talked about 2001: A Space Odyssey here on the podcast and have our distaste for it. But we were fans of this trailer dropping, with the 2001 parody going on. When the movie started and we opened up with that sequence, what was your thought? And then how did your thoughts change after the movie ended?
So I did the wrong order for watching these two movies. I saw Oppenheimer first, and then this was my second movie. So when it opened, I was like, okay, how serious are they gonna? How not serious are they gonna take themselves throughout this movie? Because opening, we saw it in the trailer. I'm like, okay, whatever. And then we get Hi Barbie about 50 goddamn fucking times. I thought to myself, oh my god, dude, we're not taking ourselves too seriously at all now with this movie. Where I just watched, something that took itself very seriously. Anyway, though, anywho, I'm watching. When we finally got to the real world is where I started to be like on board with it. There were jokes where I laughed at, beaching people off. I got those jokes, some jabs at, the guys. I got some of that. But when we went to the real world, I thought we were going to stay longer there. So I was really excited when that happened. But as soon as we went back, I was like, oh man, really? What the hell? And then it turned into the whole patriarchy, matriarchy topics and discussions. I was like, okay, well, that's not bad. Like, okay, if that's the movie, we're telling, a story we're telling, then that's the story we're telling. And then I'm like, I'm just not the demographic for this movie. Like, they didn't make this movie for your average, middle, clear-cut, straight man in their 20s, And then after that, I started really having fun with it, and I just started really laughing at all the jokes that they had. I thought it was hilarious, like Jake said, with everything else, with the things flying out. They made the men more macho than, they probably ever will be. I don't know. Maybe people act like that. If they do, Jesus Christ, dude, that's just wicked, actually. And I thought it was funny. Then when we flashed back to the real world and they were selling the Mojo dojo casa house or whatever. You know, they were flying off the shelves. I thought that was funny. When she went on when America or whatever her name is went on that speed, I don't know what her name is in the fucking film. I don't think they said it, like Julie or something. When she goes on her rant, I was like, okay. And then I was like, you know what? I wish my sister and mom were here. They probably really like this film. When I went home, I know they were talking about how they were going to go see it together. I'm like, that'd be a good bonding little film for them. And then the ending with Ken was just hilarious in this entire film. Just the just being a total fucking buffoon, dude. And especially at the end where he, gets kind of dumped by her. And then she's like, no, just be yourself. Just be yourself. And then he tries to kiss her again. And he's like, no, stop. Like, she's like, no, stop. Like that was funny to me. All that stuff was funny. At the end of the movie though, I enjoyed it. Like it was a funny movie. It's just, I should have saw this one first instead of Oppenheimer.
I'm surprised you didn't, man. I'm really shocked. Danilo, what would you rate the Barbie movie?
What's one lower than a Coruscant? God damn it! Best one on its way to Coruscant, man. I really enjoyed it. I really liked it. I thought it was funny. Like the one-liners were just funny. The quick-witted one-liners that they had in the film were absolutely hilarious. And then the gynecologist line at the end was funny as well. You know, like they were supposed, like we all thought it was a job interview. It wasn't a job interview. I thought that was funny.
Yeah, that was a great cutoff too.
Yeah, when what's her face, the retired SNL lady, when she was talking about Ken's package, I was laughing at that, dude. That was hilarious. It's a funny movie. It's a funny movie. You know, I wish I didn't have to do this. I would have been about 5 mimosas deep in and watched this movie, dude. I know I would have had the time of my life. I'm sorry, Jake didn't take a few in the tank in the beginning, you know?
Yeah. Woke up, 9 a.m. 9 a.m. 9 a.m. Yeah. Had to do it.
Goodness, man. Jake, since you saw this so early, let's get you next up on the list, too. What is your rating of the Barbie film?
I'm giving it a best, been on its way to Coruscant. Really ended up enjoying it a lot more than I thought I would. And probably, I got to tell you, one of the biggest flexes I've had in recent memory, my sisters had the little dog that poops. I was in the theater like, yo, I know that thing. Like my sisters had that. It unlocked a memory. It was great. And then she's like, sorry for the dog crap. It was so good. I texted them and I'm like, yo, the fucking dog is in the movie. And then they're like, yo, we have to, then now they have to go see it. Like they're so excited.
That's awesome, man. You gotta bring the dog with them to the movie. Like everyone had their Barbie dolls at the theater, bro.
I really hope they still have it. Because if they do, I want it.
You want it, yeah.
You want it.
There you go.
I want it. I want to have that here.
Yeah, if you get that dog, Jake, you gotta go see it again in theaters. We gotta get a picture of you with the dog in front of the poster.
No question. Yeah,
absolutely, bro. Absolutely. Brandon, I know you didn't get your drink, man. Your Pink Whitney for this, unfortunately. You know, clearly you still had a good time watching this movie, though. So I'm very curious to hear your thoughts and your rating on the Barbie film.
Yeah, I'm also giving this a best spin on the way to Coruscant. It really is just a ridiculous film that isn't afraid to go into some deep topics. As far as themes of consumerism or the negative tones of being a stereotype and all those stuff. So I really like how you can have its fun, but also there's a reason for this movie. So I like the balance of that. Also going back to the consumerism part for a second, I love the scene where they have the commercial. And it's like this Barbie is scrolling through her Instagram while eating a whole bag of Starburst.
Yeah.
So I just thought that summed it up so perfectly. And it was so funny. Like everyone said, it's definitely seemed like a fun atmosphere that the director Greta Gerwig provided for everybody. So everyone had a good time. The production was top notch, like everyone said, from the textures to the colors. Definitely with the transition from Barbie Land to Venice Beach, all that scene is just really beautiful. Especially knowing that they made all of that set instead of like CGI in it. So I really appreciate that. What else do I have here? Also, I'm surprised no one has said this. Michael Cera was so perfect as Alan.
Yes.
I am Alan to the core, by the way. I am not a Ken. I am an Alan. Just for the record. I just wanted to put that out there.
You point out there on the podcast, dude.
Um,
now, see, that's more wicked than saying you're gonna beat someone off, bro.
Yeah. But yeah, all of the cast was amazing. Everyone did fantastic. All the negatives that I have about the movie are just, the positives just overshadow it too much. So much.
I'm dead, dude. Jake is just over there cracking up, dude.
You know the poster we did a few months ago, Danilo, where it was like Pablo as Barbie. We're gonna do one of those, Brandon, where it's Brandon as Alan instead. Keep going, Brandon. Keep going.
That's just how we felt. I was Alan by the end of that movie.
Well, Alan's kind of a badass. I mean, he beat the shit.
Right, man. Like,
that's a great scene.
Give Alan some credit here.
Yeah. You're right. Keep going, man. Keep going, Brandon.
No, but
real quick, did you guys ever watch that anger management movie with Jack Nicholson?
Oh yeah,
I haven't.
And Adam Sandler? Yeah.
Long time ago.
Yeah, Will, you remember when Jack Nicholson was, making fun of Adam Sandler, saying what type of guy he would be if someone like cut him off in the grocery store? For a shooting or whatever, he's gonna go hide in the cooler or start yelling for help or whatever. And then Adam Sandler said it would be something, and then he actually said he'd be the shooter.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Alan is, man. That's what Alan is, kind of. Alan's kind of the shooter, bro.
Take us home, Brandon. Finish up real quick.
I just wanted to follow. I just wanted to clear up by saying Ryan Gosling was by far the highlight of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
He just went all in on the performance, and I will be surprised if this movie doesn't get any Oscar nominations when that comes up, especially for production. I think they should definitely get a production nomination.
No, I agree, bro.
I'm just looking at Jake this entire time.
I think dude, I think we should have, how we did those Barbie pictures, man? I think it should be us 5, and it's just, we're beaching each other off talking about Barbie. That should be our promo, dude. where we have like our hands out, even on the screen right now. Jake, put your hand out, man. Put your hand out, dog. Connect it with mine, bro. Yeah, there we go. Beach each other off, baby.
How are we doing this, dog?
I don't know where I'm at.
My grid is different, though.
That's what I'm saying, man.
But just to finish up real quick,
keep talking, Alan.
Definitely the crowd experience definitely enhanced the movie. Everybody was laughing.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was in on the jokes. Yeah, this movie was just a lot of fun to go see.
Absolutely, Brandon.
That's all I have to say.
Will, did you have an incredible experience with this movie? And was it anything like... Well, let me ask you this, actually. Excuse me. Is your rating for the same reason anything like Brandon's reasoning?
Not. I mean, besides the fact that it's a great movie, and yeah, I think I might end up giving it probably the highest score here. I'm going to give it a Coruscant.
Okay.
Because I just, even though my only problem with the movie might be, and I think this would be solved on a rewatch, is that they do kind of throw a lot of allegories at you at once, and a lot of things where you go, oh, what are they trying to say here? What are you trying to say? What does this mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of got lost in trying to figure out a lot of that stuff, because they do throw a lot at you at once, kind of towards like that, like the third act, they're throwing a lot at you of these ideas. And so I do feel like I was a little lost in some stuff, like what even is really going on here. But I just totally just was just along for the ride, and I just had a lot of fun with it. And I think on a second viewing, I'll be able to absorb a lot more of the information that they were trying to get out there. And, and like, I really appreciate, Margot Robbie is probably, for me, my favorite in the movie. Because obviously, like, she does both sides of that character so well, like the innocent, almost like bimbo-y type thing, and then also when it gets really serious and it's like she's feeling the weight of the real world on her shoulders and realizing like, oh my god, things aren't that perfect. Like the scene where she's with for some reason it's always when she's with an old lady that it really comes out, like when she's in the real world and she meets just that random lady
at the bus stop.
That scene where it just like closes in on her face and she's feeling all these emotions, incredible. That shot could have been an Oppenheimer. You know?
If you look at the promo for it for this episode was, man, I did that. I lined it up with the explosions for that reason. Yeah.
So good.
And then like the scene at the end when she's like, you know, has this need to self-actualize and become a person, and she's talking to the original creator of Barbie, and that scene where they're just in this flat backdrop and it's just these colors and stuff. My god, I love all of that so much, and I really want Margot Robbie to be in even more movies. I'm definitely gonna watch Babylon very soon because she's like the main character in that, and she's a wonderful actress. And then obviously Ryan Gosling does also steal the show as Ken. And I really was not expecting him to turn out to be this like Andrew Tate-esque villain all of a sudden. It was, but like it was out of like. It was out of because he was just he was dumb and innocent, and it wasn't out of like pure malice that he gets swept up on this whole ideology, and so it really using him as a way to poke fun at those types of people in real life, I thought was really brilliant, and yeah, I really respected a lot of the choices that they made in this movie. So yeah, I'm gonna have to say it's a Coruscant for me.
I agree with you, man. This is also a Coruscant for me too. Nice. I'm thrilled of how this turned out. I've been very vocal, and I did a guest appearance on the Jacked Up Review show a couple of years ago, discussing Margot Robbie's filmography at the time. Margot Robbie, I think, is my favorite actress of all time, and I love her leading in this film. Absolutely do. It's seeing her go from like Harley Quinn to doing some other, you know, more serious roles, and then looking back on other performances like Wolf of Wall Street, into getting to this being like her, not her, it's her magnum opus almost. You know, like this is, it feels like a lot of her films been leading up to something like this, especially since she was like producing a lot of like feminist films like Promising Young Woman that we also briefly talked about in the podcast early on at one point too. This feels totally like the perfect combination of, you know, her trying to put out a message out there and her trying to give a good performance and her putting out a good piece of art overall. And while it also being a piece that can sell well, like this movie is insane how it can blend all these components together and still stick the landing so damn well. This is an absolute Coruscant. Very, very happy to have seen this, and I'm very proud that I went and dressed up for it too as Ken. I'm going to show that picture again here on the screen just a second for you guys if you're tuning in to the stream. But it was a lot of fun, you know. This was surprisingly the endgame level film this year for the summer. Definitely, probably, I think, out of all the film or cinematic experiences I've had in 2023, I think this will be the one I remember for sure. Of the entire year to kind of make up and define how I look back on this year's cinema. For sure. The Barbie movie was damn good, and I'll definitely be picking up physically. I just hope we get like a unique steelbook or a cool like exclusive release to some of the retail shops. So we'll have to see what that coming out soon. Before we go ahead and start talking about our next film, Oppenheimer, let's take a look at the chat. We got another chat from Ronster360 saying, I saw Barbie and Oppenheimer on the same day, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Gosh.
Yeah.
That is rough.
The
That
whole
is
day.
a shift.
What did he say?
That's a work
What did Roddy
shift
say?
right there.
That's a shift
Yeah.
right there, man.
It's a
Goodness.
work
It's work
shift right there.
Barbie was clean. Ryan Gosling is top shelf. Margot Robbie is a perfect Barbie. Oppenheimer was such an incredible downer. Need that in 4D. Absolutely, man.
Yep.
Then he
yep.
also
Yeah.
commented saying, also got a comment saying, also, I bought the French Fat Albert. Thank you,
Yeah.
my man.
There's our boy. There's our boy. That's Ronnie. Yeah, he actually fucked up and thought he bought the IMAX Oppenheimer tickets, and they were not the IMAX Oppenheimer tickets, so he had to wait 2 hours to go to the Oppenheimer and IMAX.
Oh.
So that's why he was a full work shift. Yeah, that dude. Yeah, he bought the French Fat Alberts.
That's good stuff right there, man.
Oh yeah.
Good stuff. And then we got another comment from Pablo. Everyone take a shot for beaching. Hell yeah, man.
Pablo.
All right, little Pablo, go ahead. I know you are very pumped to talk about this one. Have we talked Christopher Nolan on the podcast before, Danilo?
We haven't. I don't think. I think the only time we mentioned him was with Joker when it came to The Dark Knight. But we never talked any of his Batman. We never talked any of his early ones. If you guys want a horrifying experience, take about 20 milligrams of an edible and watch his movie Insomnia, and you'll have insomnia and just lose your life. But yeah, no, we haven't talked about him at all. I don't think.
Wow.
I know we briefly early on, was giving Dakari a lot of shit because he was watching Tenet on his laptop on DVD.
Oh, I think that was we didn't even talk about that because I talked about that on my channel back in the day.
I'm saying we didn't do an episode. We were just giving him shit about it throughout several episodes.
Yeah, and that was it though. Yeah, that was it. We only that's wild.
Did you guys not talk about Tenet? That was like when you guys were going, or was that like pandemic? You guys didn't go to the theater.
We started this in December 2020. So whenever Soul was coming out was when we first started up Galaxy of Film. So we just missed it by a tad.
I put it in my top 5, so we talked about it like briefly there. But
that's when we gave Dakari crap.
Yeah, and then that was it though. Yeah.
Gosh. Oh, not a whole episode.
Not yet, at least. We'll have to do a Nolan episode at some point within the next year. Have to work into the schedule.
All right, let's get into some dark shit.
Yeah.
Okay, Alan, settle down, dude.
Pablo, go ahead and get us started on your recap of Oppenheimer.
All right, dude. So I don't even know how Oppenheimer opens up, dude. He's like, he has insomnia in the beginning of the film, dude. He can't sleep or whatever. He tries to kill his professor, and then he meets the guy from Tenet, who slaps the apple away from him. And then you get some more. Oh, fusion and fission. We see he's on trial. He's on trial for the whole movie. We see Robert Downey Jr. He's also on trial for this whole movie, or it's not a trial, it's a briefing or whatever.
Confirmation hearing or whatever.
Yeah, if he wants to be part of whatever president was cabinet or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, we keep going on, dude, and we get a bit of Oppenheimer's life, and during his testimony, that's how we're getting like his backstory. He went to these universities, went to these schools. He's a smart man. He's studying quantum mechanics or something, but he's only doing theory. So then he comes to the USA to study it. He wants to be a pioneer for it, yada, yada, yada. We're in the middle of World War II at this time. He's a bit of a communist, not socialist, communist or whatever. He has, what do they call it? Left-wing ideas. He's supporting those or whatever. And then he meets Florence Pugh. 20 minutes in, not a woman has spoken, and then she just gets banged up. Dude, I saw a tweet that said that. That's wicked. That's actually wild though. But anyway, though, dude, we get a sex scene going on with him and Florence, and then he says he's the destroyer of worlds and death in Hindu during that.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting as well. Really interesting choice there, Nolan. Really interesting.
While getting beached.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's getting beached off.
Beached off.
We keep going on, dude, and he likes this girl. We find out he's in a relationship with her. Yada yada yada. She's a bit crazy. Like something's mentally wrong with her, or whatever. He's still doing things at Berkeley, I think it is, and he's kind of a dick. He's just kind of a dick. And the guy who's in the lab next to him doesn't want to do anything with his ideology. But he gets recruited by the United States military to help some stuff out, because they know that breaking news happens where they split an atom, and then we know a bomb's about to happen. And now it's the race for who gets the bomb. Oppenheimer is someone who should be considered, but he's not because of his ideology and because he's a dick. But then finally he puts it aside, and he's like, you know what? If I'm going to be a dick, I'm going to be a dick, but I'm going to, build a bomb first because I want all the fame and glory. So he decides to build a bomb with Matt Damon all of a sudden. And they're just chilling. They start the Manhattan Project. Oppenheimer turns into fucking the Avengers, assembling a team. It just turns into Nick Fury, assembles a team of quantum mechanics scientists. They're building a bomb. Things are going wrong. We're getting tension between scientists. We're getting tensions between military and scientists. We're getting ideology tension. What happens if we build this bomb? Will they actually use this bomb? The war is over, which I I didn't know. Maybe I should pay attention in history class, but I didn't know like Hitler was dead when we dropped this bomb.
Yeah.
And so there was a lot of talk then. Do we continue building this bomb? And they said, actually, yeah. The United States military said, let's keep laying these fuckers up. And you're like, whoa, this is really interesting. Actually, now this movie took a turn.
Mm-hmm.
Becomes more of this ideology and everything. And then we finally get the bomb. Oh, espionage. I don't know what they called it. They called it something. Compartmentalization. Is what they call it. News is leaking. Whatever. We get the bomb drop. Everything goes silent in the theater for a good minute and a half, and then we hear the implosion, yada yada yada, and then the bomb gets shipped off, and they drop it. And then you're kind of like, oh, that's wild, dude, because we kind of all thought the war was over, and if you're someone like me who didn't pay attention in history class, you thought like the war was still going on strong. So anyway, though, they keep doing what they're doing, man. And Oppenheimer is now older, and he's just kind of. He's getting the fame and glory. He's on time. He's the Time Person of the Year. We see him. Oh, we hear that his former mistress died. Florence Pugh's character. The scientists are now all yada yada yada. The United States government doesn't like Oppenheimer anymore. They say you're a dick, dude. We don't want to revoke your clearance. So Robert Downey Jr.'s character sets up some whole elaborate thing to make sure we can get his clearance revoked, so he doesn't have a platform to speak on anymore about anything. Yada yada yada. We find out Robert Downey Jr. is actually the bad guy, and Rami Malek, who is cast, who we've seen hold a clipboard for about 2 minutes of the movie, finally speaks. And, you know, I saw it on TikTok last night. Yo, it was the biggest I'm him performance you ever seen in your lifetime in a film, dude. He puts in a shift, and he stops the nomination of Robert Downey getting in the cabinet and Oppenheimer. And we hear what Oppenheimer and Einstein said, like in the first 20 minutes of the movie, where it was about how, you know, the world is now changed. Maybe for the better, maybe for the good, but, you know, the world has now changed forever. And that was the end of the movie. Oh, and Oppenheimer had PTSD after the bomb.
Just a little bit, yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah, just a tad.
Just a little bit.
He was a little sad about what happened. Just a tad.
Yeah.
Gosh, man. Okay, so right off the bat, walking on the theater, obviously this is a very depressing and downing movie. Danilo, you watched this before Barbie.
Oh yeah.
What was your initial reaction to this?
I liked the psychology of it probably the most out of this. I liked when, speaking of Insomnia, I liked when he took parts like from Insomnia and put it in this film when it came to Oppenheimer.
Mm-hmm.
I would have liked to see more of the bomb being built. There was a lot of things that happened in that in the Manhattan Project. There's a whole TV show about it. I don't know what it was on, but I watched it when I was a kid. And if you watched A Teacher, the husband who got cheated on by the student or whatever, he was in that show, and that show was great because it went into more like what the wives did, what happened behind the scenes, and all the not compartmentalization portion of it. So that was really interesting, and not seeing that in this movie, I was kind of disappointed in. But then again, this movie would have been 4 hours instead of its 3-hour runtime, which was already, you know, pretty long. Yeah. It was cool to see him early on in the beginning. You know, it was cool to see his kind of come up, as it would be. Yeah, his rise and fall is basically what it is. It's a story of a man rising and falling. And it's one of my favorite tropes in storytelling, you know, and I instantly knew it was going to be that when we got that opening quote about Prometheus, stealing fire. And I was pumped from the beginning, and it delivered. The sound was absolutely fantastic, and I might go home and watch it in Dolby if I can catch a showing. So, yeah, I loved it. It was great.
I would love to see this in Dolby.
Depressing at 11:30 on the drive home. Made me kind of just want to go to bed.
No, absolutely, man, absolutely. Like, I saw this in Fable, like I said, the laser IMAX. Unfortunately, the Dolby was completely sold out, but I was like, screw it. Got to see it in IMAX. Thankfully, this is the best way you can watch it digitally, from my understanding, as far as the view goes. Had an hour drive back, and yeah, it was definitely depressing, man, for sure. But you mentioned sound design. There's one little movie, you might be proud of me for this one, Pablo. One little movie this reminded me of, man, during the Trinity test. We had that Last Jedi moment. Like when the Hammerhead Corvette goes through, and we have that Vice Admiral Holdo scene. And
fucking nerd.
Everybody in my theater was completely speechless during the Trinity effect, man. or the Trinity test. This movie is gorgeous throughout the entire bit. For 3 hours and I think 9 minutes total.
No, I think it was 3 hours on the dot.
Oh, was it?
It was 3 hours on the dot.
Well, for the entire 3 hours, man, regardless, this movie uses every second of its runtime, like it's its last minute. The pacing is hard throughout this entire movie, and I can respect it so much. I wasn't bored for a single second. I was blown away that my friend was falling asleep during this, honestly. I was just so caught off guard by how great this movie is. I was utterly blown away. The fact that there's no CGI using this, or supposedly no CGI. We know Nolan's a big stickler against CGI in all of his films. The fact that we're able to show the quantum realm, or what it's theorized to look like back and forth, is mind-blowing to me. How we have a movie like Ant-Man and the Wasp, where it's literally all in the quantum realm, and it looks like such dog shit. But we get this movie, and I see maybe a minute total worth of footage of the quantum realm, throughout the entire film, just sprinkled in and out. And I have a better visual understanding of what we're dealing with compared to a movie that has 2.5 hours in it. I was utterly speechless watching this movie. This cast list is great. I loved seeing almost like a cameo-esque list of stars for the scientists in Los Alamos. Like Josh Peck is in there. Of course, we get Roderick from Diary of a Wimpy Kid in this film, which was such a win. I know, Danilo, we discussed the trilogy last year. Great fucking movies. I was so happy he was included in this. Rami Malek's in this, like you mentioned. And also someone who I knew we were going to see in this film, but I was very surprised by how much screen time he got. Benny Safdie, one of my favorite directors, and I love that he's stepping in and doing a lot more acting. Obviously we saw him a bit in Kenobi, which was kind of weird because he was just more or less a cameo role in that film, or that show, excuse me. So it was really cool to see him take his acting serious under someone else's direction, because we've only really seen him act in Good Time. But I was blown away by this piece, utterly. I can't wait for it to come out physically. I have to go see this again at some point. Hopefully I can catch it again in IMAX, preferably. But yeah, man, I loved Oppenheimer throughout the entire bit. Will, I'm very curious, because you got to do the double feature. You walk out of Barbie, such an uplifting and fun film. You're hearing Nicki Minaj and Ice Spice, the credits roll. You walk out and you go into the Oppenheimer screening. What was going through your mind, when you first sat down for Oppenheimer?
Well, as soon as Christopher Nolan announced that Oppenheimer was going to be his next film, I have been just so hyped to see this, because I've been to Hiroshima. In high school, I went on a study tour. I stayed there for a week with a family, and I went to their school for a week, and we went on a lot of field trips, and we visited all these places associated with the bomb. There's this very famous building, this domed building that
it's called the A Dome, I think, right?
Yeah, and I took a picture out there. I visited I think it's called the Peace Museum, where it has all kinds of artifacts in there that's been left over, really haunting stuff. They have this piece of this staircase where this guy was sitting when the bomb went off, and he got vaporized, and you could see his outline, his shadow burned into the, and that these are real things that are left behind. And that was a really life-changing experience, being there and seeing this stuff. And I always wanted a film to come out that's going to get a lot of people to see it, that could really kind of put in everybody's minds just how horrible this was.
Yeah.
Because growing up, we see atom bombs going off in movies all the time. It's a commonly used trope, but so it's kind of almost associated with just science fiction. It's a thing that doesn't really happen. And it did happen, though, and we dropped it on people, and probably I think it was a close to like 200,000 people died within that immediate like few months, couple years, because of not just the immediate explosion, but the radiation poisoning. And it's a huge tragedy, and it's a terrible thing that happened. And I always wanted a movie to really explore that. And I had heard before going into it that the movie doesn't actually show Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And at first I was a little bit disappointed in that, but then I realized it's for the better for this film.
Yeah.
That it was strictly from Oppenheimer's perspective, and I think it's actually almost more impactful that from that perspective of just a guy in America in that time, like before the internet, before all this stuff you could automatically see what happened over there. It's kind of haunting that everybody's there cheering and celebrating that this thing happened, and you're not actually seeing the horrible cost of that. And I think the movie plays on that very well. And I think that one scene that I think is probably the best scene in the movie, Oppenheimer's giving that victory speech, and that's when everything goes just really crazy. And it's like out of a horror movie all of a sudden. And I feel like that kind of perfectly encapsulated that fear and the guilt that somebody like Oppenheimer would have. And yeah, so I really appreciate that this movie exists, that it's educating people on the horrors of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, as well as the lingering horror of this could happen again someday.
Absolutely.
And it could be a million times worse, because the bombs we have now are literally thousands of times stronger than what was dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So yeah, I had a lot of emotions going through this movie, and it was just so well made. Like, like right off the bat, just the way it pieces together, like all the different timelines. And I am glad that I did a little more research specifically into Oppenheimer, so like I was able to follow the plot very well, because I already knew who Robert Downey Jr.'s character was and what his goals were, and I knew about Oppenheimer's like connections to the Communist Party back then. Which I think is what's really funny, is just a little side note, is that I don't think he really was like actually a communist. It was that he was just horny and wanted to fuck like these communist women. That was really all it was. Like, I mean, yeah, he gave like money to certain causes that were like fighting like the literal fascists in Spain and stuff. So he had these things that were a little bit more connected there. But still, I think he was really just kind of naive about, oh, this is gonna be like held over my head in the future. But yeah, so and that's something they play with in the whole movie, is how naive he is about a lot of things. But yeah, this just, I thought it was an amazing movie. Probably gonna end up being my favorite movie of the year. I think it's very important. Probably one of the most important movies ever made, honestly, in terms, because I mean, Oppenheimer himself is one of the most important humans to ever exist. The way this creation of this bomb has forever impacted and changed all of human history from here on out is, well, it's incalculable. So I think Nolan was really, it just made it was a great point to make this movie at this time. I think it was a great choice for him to do that. So yeah,
Couldn't
that's kind of
agree
like
more.
my opening thoughts. Yeah.
Could not agree more, man. Absolutely. I had no clue you had been to Hiroshima and stuff. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, gosh.
Yeah, this movie means a lot to me for, for obvious reasons,
That's awesome,
bringing
man.
this issue to the forefront,
I'm glad you were able to have such a personal connection to this piece too, because like this is something that truly caught me off guard. I knew this is how World War II ended, of course, but that's pretty much it. Like you said, like this is something where atom bombs or just big casualties and travesties like this are so distant to us, because we grew up seeing it, we're reading about it, blah blah blah, to where it feels like fiction. It feels like a thing in the past. But to acknowledge this has absolutely happened is still possibly something that could happen in the future. It is crazy. And this is the closest thing I've seen to make me realize, like, oh, yeah, this is very much a possibility still to the day. Utterly crazy, man. Utterly crazy. And I do agree with you as well. That scene in the gymnasium when he's giving that victory speech is incredible. if that scene alone doesn't take this piece to Oscar season, I don't know what will. Utterly, this movie could not be replicated, in my opinion. You know, this had the perfect director for it, the perfect cast list for it as well, and it's just, in my opinion, a perfect movie overall. It's definitely one of the biggest achievements of cinema, I think, in this decade we'll see. You know, maybe that's, you know, a hot take. We'll see where this decade will take us throughout the rest of the 2020s. But 2030, I guarantee this is something we'll be looking back on with fond memories about. And, of course, we'll remember the Barbenheimer experience for sure. And what a cinematic triumph this week has been. But this movie in particular is incredibly powerful. Jake, I'm very curious because you saw this early as hell, you said, too, correct?
Yes.
So how badly did this fuck up the rest of your day? First of all.
Yeah. Well, so yeah, I mean, it's definitely like not easy to go from, you know, the ending that we got here to just a closing shift. You know, it's like, God, like I gotta like sit with this and think about it. But no, I mean, it blew me away. Yeah, it was one of these things where it's like I saw it and I was kind of like, you know, goddamn, like that felt like as soon as I was like I think maybe halfway through, like right after the Trinity test, I think I was like, yeah, no, this is like an instantly like iconic, like classic film that you're gonna remember and watch for years, like much like, you know, Citizen Kane or you know, any of the other classics that we have. Like it's one of those movies, like it's gonna be up there and it's gonna be like instrumental viewing as a film lover. Like it's one of those. Like I really felt that way like halfway through. Like even not even finishing the movie, I was like, this is fucking really good. And I was like, you know, Cillian Murphy's doing so much with just his eyes. Like I was like, he has this like dead empty stare, and it's like just that's why you're seeing like ridiculous memes about it, because it's like it's genuinely effective, and it's like he does so much with just those empty eyes, where he's like, there's so much going on in his head where it's just like, you know, what have I done? Like, holy shit. And you feel that the whole movie, and you're just like as soon as it happens, and yeah, that gymnasium scene that we're all talking about, like actually like horrifying. And, you know, the just that like, and I understand why people are upset that they didn't show Hiroshima, the bombings, but I think it's so much more effective to just that one moment of like, well, I bet the Japanese didn't like it, and then you hear that like scream, like that out of place scream, like woman scream, and you're just like, what the fuck was that? And you're just, you know, it's just so like, it leaves it up to the imagination, and because we all know, you know, it's like, and this movie just shines a light on like what was going on, like, you know, behind the closed doors, where it's like, and that scene with Truman, where he's just like, you know, here's a napkin, bitch, like, cry about it. And it's like, God, like, this is so fucked up. Like, it's so messed up. And I really, it sat with me, you know, and that whole scene where they're talking about, you know, where should we bomb? And it's like, well, let's not bomb this place because I went to vacation with my wife there. And it's like, that's so fucked. Like, it's like, we're just, these are lives, you know, it's like, and just the fact that I think that's why he didn't show it, because it's like, the shit that's going on behind the doors is so much, like honestly, like it's so much worse to just see that shit. And it's like, God, this is what these people were talking about, you know, in regards to thousands of lives. It's like, it's a chess game. Like that's all it was to them. And it's like, oh, well, if we drop it here, you know, this will work better for us. And you know, it's like, it's horrible. And that was like genuinely much more effective to me than any like spectacle, you know, recreation could have been. You know, because it's well documented in history that happened. And it's like, yeah, everybody comes to play here. I thought Robert Downey Jr. was phenomenal too. And it's like, and I said this like when I left the theater, and like I really think like if that doesn't win Best Picture, it's robbed. Like it's I don't think it should just be nominated. This is like it's got that, because you know, we talk about the Oscars and things like that with like in regards to like, oh, what's the message, what's the cultural relevance, and it's like it's all there. Like I really felt that like after watching the movie, I'm like, this has everything going for it to win Best Picture. So I really
Absolutely.
hope it does. This is my pick. Like I really like I don't need to see what else comes out this year. Like I really think like Cillian Murphy needs to take home Best Actor, and I think this needs to win Best Picture. Like it's got that shit in it, man. Like it's really just it's one of the all-time greats. Like I felt that way immediately after seeing it. It's been 5 days since I've seen it, and I still feel that way. And it's like I want to see it again. I want to, and that's a tall order for a 3-hour movie. And it was I did not check my phone during the movie, but I was like there after the Trinity test. I'm like, all right, like because I was getting nervous. I'm like, am I gonna be late to work? So I checked, and it was like 1:17 or something, and I'm like, there is 40 minutes left, and I am enthralled. I'm like, where are we going from here? I thought the Trinity test was the end of the movie, and I thought like the whole gymnasium scene was like the fallout, and I thought like we're gonna go on for like another 2 or 3 scenes, and then the movie's gonna wrap up. No, and I'm like, damn, like there's a whole other act here. Like, that's fantastic, and it ended up being just as engaging, even with all like the interrogative, like small, and the way they set him up to just get completely fucked over with like this just tiny boardroom, and it's like nobody's here, like your lawyer doesn't get notes, like all this shit. It's so messed up. And yeah, just watching, and then everybody has their Oscar moment. I felt like it's like Downey Jr.'s got a couple of really great standout scenes. Cillian Murphy, just the whole movie, they can roll any clip of him giving that dead stare, and that's like, oh wow, yep, no, fantastic. And then Emily Blunt has like that big fantastic. I think she should be nominated as well for that big scene alone, where she's like, oh yeah, sorry, no, just kidding, 18 years ago or whatever it was. Like that was great.
Yeah, truly.
Yeah, it just stuck with me immediately, and it's like, yeah, it's fantastic. I loved it. Yeah, I mean, what else is there to say? Everybody came to play with this one, and Nolan killed it. It's like he didn't have to go this hard, but he really did, and he knocked it out of the park. This is his best movie for sure, and it feels like everything led to this. Like it really did feel like each Nolan film has been kind of, he did his blockbusters so he could get this insane budget. He did his original pieces so he could kind of, flex his muscle creatively. And then, like, now we're finally here. Like, this felt like a big finale, almost, where it's like Nolan has been building to this. He didn't know he had it in him, but it's finally out there, and he really killed it.
I 100% agree, dude. Even more so, like, seeing Murphy go with him throughout his career. Like, this is Scarecrow for the Dark Knight trilogy, playing this guy.
Yeah.
Like, that blows my mind. I forgot this was Scarecrow until after I watched this movie. Seeing this very timid actor come through and give that dead stare in this film is incredible. I 100% agree with you, Jake. Through everything you just said. Brandon, I know you're the big comic book guy here on Think Galaxy of Film. You've been very vocal about like a lot of the MCU and the DC stuff going on throughout these films and projects over the last couple of years or so. What are specifically your thoughts on Robert Downey Jr.'s performance in Oppenheimer? I want to hear that first, and then give me some of your general thoughts on the film too.
Oh, he was great in the movie. It's nice seeing him, step out of the MCU and being Iron Man, and still being able to show like, hey, I can do things outside of the MCU. So, which I mean, you still got to give credit to Iron Man rejuvenating his career. So nothing disregard that, but I do believe Iron Man led him to this point of showcasing like, hey, this was like an up and coming actor back in the 90s or so, like right before his like downfall, and like so like just showcasing like he has like what it takes to be a great actor, and this movie just really proves it really. I think that one scene towards the end, where he's just going off on his supporter or his group of men or something in the office, that was just like that was his best actor moment, or that was his like Oscar moment for me. When that scene popped up, he was really good in this movie. But I mean, it's Cillian Murphy's movie. To me, like, he made me believe he was Oppenheimer. Like that's how good he was. And like Jake said, like his death stares, or just blank stares could easily just give him the best actor win right there. Um, he just really showcased like the distraught and the guilt that Oppenheimer just possessed throughout his life, and he really brought this like just tragic character to the screen. What am I? This tragic human um, onto the big screen, and he did it so phenomenally. And yeah, I mean, this was just another movie where all the cast was wonderful in this movie. I especially liked the second half of the movie, right after the Trinity test pulled off, and like everyone said, that gymnasium scene is by far the best scene in the entire movie, and pretty much the reason why this film was made to begin with. Like, if you were to just out of context just show this scene to just a random person, they'd immediately understand what the movie would be about.
Mhm.
Like that's how powerful that
Yeah.
scene is, and
Like the thesis statement of the whole movie, right?
exactly that is the piece statement of the entire movie. Just the sound mix scene and the editing, especially with them showcasing like what's going on in Oppenheimer's mind, it's just really well done, and that it was also breathtaking just to see that explosion with just dead silence, because it was like there was no reaction from my theater or anything. Everybody just like took it in. We were just experiencing it just like Oppenheimer, which is just surreal to just think about. How we were kind of just like feeling like how he was feeling in that moment. I gotta be honest with you though, there were some scenes in the movie where I wouldn't understand what's going on, so that was just a little, critique I had about the movie. Just because like I didn't know so much about him, and like he had to go through all this stuff with the government and all that stuff, so I got confused. Mostly with like the Strauss scenes, or like the Robert Downey Jr. scenes, but everything with Oppenheimer is great. Even his scenes with Einstein, especially toward the end, was just really like psychologically like just a mind fuck, pretty much. Like them just talking about, yeah, we just basically rewrote the entire world, pretty much, for better or for worse, and it's just a powerful line to really think about. There are a lot of like powerful lines in the movie, and just that line alone, just again, it's just another one of those things that makes this movie so great as it is. What else did I have right down here? Yeah, I appreciate Nolan with his no CGIs in the film. That just makes me respect him more as just a filmmaker and auteur, pretty much. In that aspect where he can just he makes his movies so realistic, that it just makes the movie experience that much better. I think that's pretty much all I had. The score was great as well.
Oh, God,
Just
yeah, the score was incredible.
especially the second half of the movie where they really go into like the consequences with the bomb and everything. It was just so beautiful, and just really tells the feelings that everybody was going through. Yeah, this is one of those movies though where I have to give it a second viewing to really appreciate it and to really like understand what's happening. But other than that, like it was just a really, really good film that the 3 hours just passed by for me, really. That's how good a movie has to be, where 3 hours are just like nothing to me.
Absolutely.
Overall, really good. Yeah.
I'm really glad you
I,
brought up the score, Brandon, because this score makes it worth Ludwig not doing Mandalorian Season 3, in my opinion.
It's very haunting. Yeah.
You know, the fact that this is Childish Gambino's producer and then came from his mixtapes to this is mind-blowing. You know, I really thought he peaked with some stuff in his other films we've covered in the podcast and doing The Mandalorian, but God, this is incredible. You know, this is top-notch work from him, in my opinion. What were you about to say though?
Oh, I was just about to say like I pre-ordered the Mondo exclusive vinyl
Oh,
set for
nice.
it looks
Nice.
great. Yeah, and so yeah, this I did kind of spoil it myself. Like before the movie, I was like, I have to listen to this soundtrack before I see the movie because I'm just so excited for it. And I listened to it on my way home from my vacation. And my God, especially those first opening tracks are just so beautiful and haunting. And even without getting the context of the visuals of what was going on, I could tell what the movie was, what the feeling is. And I really think this is probably going to be the best soundtrack of the year. Honestly, just so beautiful to listen to, and yeah, it perfectly matched with this brilliant mind of Oppenheimer and the way he visualizes things and the weight of the world on his shoulders is just awesome.
It's a damn good score, man, but I don't know if it's better than Barbie's soundtrack, bro. Come on.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Nice spice.
Hell yeah, man.
Fuck, man.
Pablo, take us home, man. Go ahead. Give me your rating of Oppenheimer.
Yeah, I would give this a Coruscant. I really enjoyed this movie, man. Everyone likes the gymnasium scene. I love the scene after they drop the bomb, and you see all the military people in the Manhattan Project just cheer. Everyone's so happy, and you see that one shot of that one scientist who looks like he's about to cry, or he is about to cry. And he just sticks out his hand and he shakes the other scientists from across the room. Because the scientists were the only one who knew what happened. You know, they only knew, like, yeah, they probably just got vaporized. Like, where the other people were just like, fuck those guys, you know? I thought that was powerful. And I love the scene with him and who was Florence Pugh's character's name? I forget that.
Oh my God, I know what it is.
It's like Gene
Gene.
something.
Yeah, Gene Tadlock. Yeah.
Yeah. I love the scene where he goes to see Jean, to tell her that he broke up with whatever you call it, or he's marrying Kitty or whatever. I love that scene, and I love then the scene with Kitty when Oppenheimer was all depressed that his affair woman died, and then Kitty kind of was like, "Get the fuck up, like stop, just stop, don't a pity party for yourself." Those two scenes are my favorite, and then obviously the end scene was just obviously the most impactful one. But no, I loved it. It was fantastic. It was great. I'll have to go rewatch it again, hopefully in Dolby at the AMC, so I can go see Nicole Kidman as well. But yeah, no, it was a great movie, man. It was a great movie, and 3 hours did not feel like 3 hours. This reminded me of The Godfather for some reason because of the whole trial thing. I thought it was cool how they used the trial to tell this story as well. I think that was a very, very interesting way to tell it. I think if they tried to tell it just, based off, like Oppenheimer, like, his life, I would have been bored. But the trial mixed into it was very, very cool. So, for sure, a Coruscant.
Nice, man, nice. The fact that this reminds you of The Godfather, that's some patriarchy right there, buddy.
Part 2, though. The part 2 one, man.
I'm
Even
glad
worse.
you brought up Florence Pugh in those scenes specifically, like when he is depressed finding out she passed away. I was actually out drinking the other night with my buddy Isaiah. He's our colorist here at Galaxy Filmed, worked on Like a Surgeon, worked on Distinguished, and some of our videography projects for like Hope for Teens and for Background Records. Great guy, and he had a chance to see Oppenheimer, and we were discussing it at the bar the other night, and he said something that I couldn't agree more with. The scene where Emily Blunt is sitting down and Oppenheimer is like at the table, and he's going into detail his relationship with Florence Pugh's character, and she has this vision of them basically fucking right in front of her, is so haunting, and is such
creepy.
It was
very
creepy. And it's such a haunting and explicit and shocking, but a perfect way to imagine what she's feeling like listening to her significant other and how he cheated on her.
Especially when like Florence Pugh's like directly staring at while she's doing it.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's haunting overall, man.
It's creepy. Yeah.
This film is incredible. I'd say this is a Death Star, but that's not appropriate for this episode. This is an absolute Coruscant. This will definitely be in our top 10 of the year, I can already imagine. Yeah, man, Oppenheimer is definitely an experience. Brandon, I need to hear your rating for this, though, because that joke is not going to land for everybody. So take it away, buddy.
Let's hear it, Alan.
My review is good. It's gonna be a little low, but hear me out on this. It's going to be a best spin. But I think with the second viewing, the score will go up. But as a just a first time viewer, it's just really good. Once I get the full picture of the movie, I think I can appreciate it just as much more than I did with the first viewing. But like I said, everything was just so phenomenal. The editing, the sound mixing, especially Cillian Murphy, the whole cast in general. Everything mostly worked from my experience, and I just can appreciate two movies back to back that I could see where it was just really good. It was just a really good spectacle of a weekend, just to as a moviegoer, and I hope both these movies get the recognition at the Oscars when that time comes for nominations. Also a couple things to point out too. First, Josh Peck is the one that launched the bomb, so blame him for everything.
No, I'm gonna
Also,
blame Megan.
well, Megan wasn't part of it. It was Josh. Well, we saw there's proof. There's evidence. And two, I don't know if you guys noticed, Gary Oldman was Truman.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if anybody caught up on that. I looked at the credits. I'm like, holy shit, Gary Oldman was Harry Truman this entire time. I never noticed.
Yeah, I didn't.
But
either.
that's most of
really
his
cool.
roles too. That's most of his roles. Like the makeup is just so good that you hardly even recognize him.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. That's a nice piece of casting too.
Yeah. But yeah, Oppenheimer, Barbenheimer, phenomenal experience.
Absolutely agree with you, Brandon. Jake, let's hear your rating, bro. Let's hear the mayhem unleashed for this.
Yeah, man. No, definitely. Like Brandon just said, one of the most memorable. I think the fourth largest box office weekend of all time.
Yeah.
Fantastic, Barbenheimer. We won. It was incredible, and yeah, no, Oppenheimer is a coruscant for sure. It is my favorite movie of the. I did not think I'm not going to say it anymore because I thought Spider-Verse would not get topped. But here we are. Oppenheimer is so good. And I'm not going to say that it's going to be my number one of the year at the end of the year. However, tough to beat. I really thought it was great. And I think it should win Best Picture. I don't just think it should be nominated. I think it should win. And I loved it. And I cannot wait to see what Nolan does next, especially with this movie really doing incredible at the box office.
Yeah.
This dude can do whatever he wants with whatever budget he wants and with whatever studio he wants. Like, this dude is on top of the world. I know Warner Brothers wants him back, but Universal might want to keep him after this. So yeah, I think he must be feeling pretty good about himself right now, and he should. He earned it.
I said it's like a perfect combination of like perfect director with such like a tragic, like important character in Oppenheimer. Like everything was just like you didn't even need to market this so much because of just those two names, Oppenheimer and Christopher Nolan. Like all that alone will bring people to seats, and I think it clearly worked out based on the box office.
Especially with the times too, not just because of obviously where we are. I'm not going to get into politics here in Galaxy Film. We never have been into that. But especially with a lot going on in the world, with a lot of the threat of this possibly being a future for us, and for a lot of different countries going forward. But also last year, Oppenheimer's clearance was reinstated too. So it's kind of nice that this is perfect timing for this movie to come out as well. But Will, what is your final final comments and thoughts and rating on Oppenheimer?
It's a effortless coruscant for me. Like, it is just an amazing movie. I can't wait to see it again. Again, it's a little bit more personal for me, due to like my, what I've experienced, what I've seen with my own eyes, the horrors of what this weapon can do, and I think it's just it's amazing to for Nolan to have chosen this story to tell right now. And yeah, I'm just really like head over heels with it, about this movie. I want to see it again so bad. I gotta try go to the IMAX. The soundtrack is amazing. There's so many actors in this movie. Another I thought was a standout was Casey Affleck. His one scene where he plays this guy who kills communists with his bare hands, and then like Oppenheimer is just completely unaware that he's.
Wait, that was Casey Affleck?
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, there's one shot where I was like, wait, that looks like Ben Affleck, and I went, oh, that's his brother. And it makes sense because like Casey Affleck was in Interstellar, so like they had that connection with Nolan. And like that was another standout scene for me. And there's just so many of those. Just the way that Nolan covers all this history and all of these different individual characters in history. Amazing movie. I'm glad it was made. Perfect.
I'd like to see him cover more people like Oppenheimer, or just make like biographical movies like that. That would be.
They set up Kennedy for the next one.
So that was something I wanted to say. Yeah, it was actually really funny that they brought up JFK because I had just watched. Robin. Yeah, right. I just watched Oliver Stone's movie JFK, which it really delves into the conspiracy theory about JFK. It stars Kevin Costner, and it actually feels very similar to Oppenheimer, the way it's got that kind of courtroom trial thing going on, and how it delves into this historical tragedy. And yeah, they bring in JFK at the end. They mention him because that was one thing JFK was known for was. He was really upset with the way Oppenheimer was treated, and he thought that Oppenheimer should get his credentials back. But I think by the time JFK became president and he offered that role back to Oppenheimer, he turned it down because he just was like, whatever happened, it's the past, and I'm moving on from that. And yeah, so it was interesting bringing JFK into the mix a little bit. So.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. And it was like a Robin moment, like you said, Jake. It was fun. Goodness, man. Pablo, I think that's going to wrap it up for this week, man.
Does that wrap up the Barbenheimer week?
I think it does, and that's crazy. We've been talking about this for so long. Here we finally are, and I'm glad everyone, it seems like, fucking loves both these movies, but everyone here at Galaxy Film, of course, loves them as well, too.
Always.
So, what a perfect week for cinema. Jake's, like you said, man, movies are 100% back now, it feels like. So hopefully this strike ends soon. Pay your writers, pay your actors, so we can keep this ball rolling. Yeah. Absolutely. Gosh, bro.
One more comment, one little thing.
Go for it.
Wouldn't it have been really hilarious if Asteroid City also came out this week? Because it's like the perfect gradient between these two movies.
It would have bombed so hard.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
it would have literally bombed.
Quite literally.
Gotten buried, yeah.
Will, it's always good getting you on here, man. Where can our listeners find you?
I'm on Twitter at WKArt54. I post art on there, a lot of my nerdy stuff. So yeah, you guys can follow me on there.
Very nice, man. Very nice. Brandon, Jake, I know both of you guys got some new projects here at Galaxy Film in the works. Can't wait to release them soon, hopefully. Danilo, we got plenty more coming from Galaxy Film for ourselves, too. For listeners out there, go ahead and check out Distinguish. It is currently available on the galaxyfilm.com website. Also here on our YouTube channel where this podcast is currently being streamed at. So yeah, guys, go ahead and hit subscribe on this channel for more of these live streams. Next week, we got a special surprise episode coming towards you, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, August is going to be a busy month for us as well. And just like our buddy Jake Gyllenhaal said in Ambulance, we don't stop here at Galaxy Film, So if you enjoyed the show, please consider leaving us an iTunes and Spotify review. Hit subscribe here on YouTube. And we'll talk to you guys next week with another episode of Galaxy of Film. Thanks for sticking around for Barbenheimer, guys. It's been a great time.
That's my Roderick, man.